everyone to the Project Rise, Resiliency, Innovation, Sustainability, and Entrepreneurship at Tomas B. Lopez Jr. Call for Innovation program. We will have two parts to this day, a campus tour and an announcement of the top 20 with a kickoff of Project Rise in the afternoon. We are glad to have everyone in this room, a room of fresh faces, hopefully high energy, and hopefully we will all be together until the afternoon to witness good stories, good opportunities, and good things ahead for all of our young innovators. As we start, may I ask everyone to please stand and remain standing for a short doxology to be followed by our national anthem in the University of Makati hymn.
Heavenly Father, Creator of all, we humbly ask your divine presence to be with us today as we begin our activity. Send forth your Holy Spirit to teach us that in everything we do today is for your greater glory. May we use our giftedness to unite us in one goal, and that is to strive hard to reach the goal of success. May you provide us of divine wisdom to respect and understand one another, that all of us here are brothers and sisters. Grant us a profound humility through the example of your only begotten Son, Jesus Christ our Lord. Send forth your holy angels to protect and deliver us from any harm. Father in heaven, all glory and honor are yours, forever and ever. Amen.
Please remain standing for the University of Makati hymn. right. Good morning, University of Makati.
May energy pa?
Good morning! Okay, Project Rise pa naman tayo. So mamaya i-rise natin yung energy na yan, okay? Pero before we formally get started with our campus tour, of course, we open this up to one of the pioneers of this program, one of the leaders and the most enthusiastic representatives of the university to push for innovation in this program, to be active in your community. And I am proud to call on Dr. Mateo Macalaging Jr., Director of the University of Makati Center for Technology Incubation and Enterprise Development.
Good morning. Okay, please join me in welcoming our external partners to the home of the great, brave Herons. So can we give them a resounding applause to our partners? So we have here Idea Space QBO Innovations. So they will be our partner for this program, RISE. So we welcome each and everyone to this gathering. This is fitting indeed because we are celebrating our 54th founding anniversary. So fitting because this is a milestone. So to each and everyone, paki-greet naman yung katabi nyo, happy anniversary. Happy anniversary. Happy 54th. Okay? Kaedad ko po ang UMak. Okay. So, 1972, right? Okay. On behalf of the City Government of Makati, University of Makati, the Center for Technology Incubation and Enterprise Development, I warmly welcome all of you to the official launching of the Project RISE, Resiliency, Innovation, Sustainability, and Entrepreneurship. As I have mentioned earlier, today marks an important milestone in our shared journey of building a stronger innovation ecosystem for Makati City and beyond. Project RISE is not simply a program. It is a movement that empowers ideas, nurtures innovation, and transforms solutions into sustainable enterprises. So we have prospect venture enterprises today. In a rapidly changing world shaped by technology, climate change challenges, and evolving social needs, innovation must be guided by purpose. Through Project RISE, we encourage innovators to create meaningful solutions in 3 critical areas. So for Project RISE 2025, we identified 3 categories: financial technologies, resilient communities, and learning technologies. These domains represent the future of inclusive development and sustainable progress. So this morning, as mentioned by Ms. Carla, thank you so much, Ms. Carla, for leading us today. All of us present here are so fortunate because we will be immersed into the first project mentioned, that is Technopreneurship workshop. So I hope that we can be actively engaged as we progress on this activity in this morning. So this is where we explore the principles of design thinking and enterprise development. These sessions are designed, so we have here some important startup experts to guide us in this session. Help us, we innovators, identify real-world problems, design practical solutions, and translate creativity into viable ventures. Innovation is not just about ideas. It is turning ideas into impact. So later this afternoon, we will proudly announce the top 20 group innovators. So we actually received the call for innovation, 50 group entries. So out of the 50, we will be announcing the top 20 who will advance to the next stage of the program. So these selected teams will participate in our intensive boot camp series, where they will refine their ideas through ideation, prototype development, and ultimately present their innovations in a final pitching event. Through this journey, participants will also receive guidance on business licensing, intellectual property protection, and commercialization pathways. So we are so fortunate again that we have a strong support from the administration. And by the way, I would like to acknowledge our faculty, TBI, we call them the Technology Business Incubators. They are the coordinators. Can I acknowledge? So please just wave. Our faculty coordinators. We have our dean in the business finance. Thank you so much. And the rest of the other administrators. Later this afternoon, the city mayor and the invited other guests will be joining us. Project RISE reflects the University of Makati's commitment to building an ecosystem where innovation meets opportunity. With the support of our partners and mentors, mentioned already, we aim to empower innovators while ensuring that their solutions are protected, scalable, and impactful for the community. To our participants, to everyone present today, within your creativity may lie the next breakthrough that strengthens financial inclusion, improves education, or builds more resilient communities. We encourage you to think boldly, participate, collaborate openly, and pursue solutions that create lasting value. To our partners, Idea Space, QBO Innovation, we are indebted. Thank you so much for the help. Thank you. Thank you so much for the guidance, the mentorship, and collaboration. These are all essentials in nurturing the next generation of innovators and technopreneurs within the University of Makati. So as we launch Project RISE today, let us remember that innovation is not only about technology. It is about people, purpose, and progress. So once again, we welcome you all to Project RISE and the launching and Technopreneurship Workshop today. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you to Doc Matt, to our TBI facilitators who have joined us, to the teams who have entries and are waiting for the decision and the news for later this afternoon. Good luck. But for this morning, we will make this exciting. So sabi ko kanina, ang recitation natin ay magsisimula sa likod. So hello po, kumusta? I am Carla Legaspi, one of the representatives from QBO Innovation. We are the proud partners of the University of Makati, CTIED and TBI Express for Project RISE. Sinisimulan po natin ngayon sa Technopreneurship Forum or Startup Campus Tour. Alright, I'm head of programs for community and ecosystem, so that just means kami po yung pinakamataas yung energy. Kami yung lumilibot sa buong Pilipinas to share about startups and innovation. Ano ka pala pag may sinusilip ako doon to dito? But don't worry, aabot ako from very left to very right, from very front to very back, hanggang mamayang hapon. We will have energy for this campus tour. Okay. Ayaw yata. There you go. This is a bit moved, but we will catch up. But for the morning, just so you know, what we will cover, meron po tayong learning session about startups. We do have two student startup founders who will share their experiences firsthand kung paano sila nabubuhay as innovators. And madali ba? Hindi ba madali? Masaya ba? Hindi ba masaya? Is it something that you might be interested in or not? Life of a founder, wins and losses, we will hear about that in a bit. And then babalik lang tayo to our learning session about startups and what you can do with an idea. Because naniniwala ko, kahit sino dito sa auditorium, inaantok man o hindi, nakapagkapinan na hindi kaninang umaga, might have ideas that can solve someone's problem, can solve 1,000 people's problem, and maybe even make money out of it. An opportunity na baka may kaharap na ako dito na milyonaryo in 5 years, 10 years. Why not? Right? With technology and with innovation, that might be possible. We will see how. And then for everyone in this room, we will serve lunch later. Huwag mag-alala. Alright? Yes, malakpak sa lunch. Alright. Excited tayo for that lunch. But, madaanan muna natin yung program natin for the morning. Some people, some faces here are familiar to us. We did a program here with the embassy, the U.S. Embassy for Technology also. So this is technically a return for QBO in UMak. Okay, let me see. Ayun na. Okay. In the afternoon, and balikan na lang ito natin mamaya, Doc Matt actually previewed that we have 50 entries for the Project Rise Incubation and Grant Program. And we will be announcing sino yung top 20 qualified and who will move a step closer into becoming the cohort, the first incubation cohort of the incubator. Okay. Okay, we are starting our campus tour, and technically, I am only an introduction. Ang importante talaga dito, yung stories of our founders, but we need for everyone to understand ano yung hinahanap nilang life before natin silang pagkwentuhin dito sa stage. So I will do some introductions of the concepts before I welcome the founders, right? So we start here at Startup 101, Fundamentals. Ano yung gusto namin pagtapos ng araw nito, at least yun alam nyo about innovation and about startups. Ayan. Goals for you, possibly ma-achieve natin lahat, hopefully, is for you to explore opportunities in the technology and innovation space. Whether you are nursing, in arts, in communications, in app development, there is a space for everyone in innovation. Understand what makes this life, this opportunity special, especially at this time, in this generation. Learn how to turn your ideas into reality, or some sort of reality, and then adopt a forward-thinking mindset wherever you might end up in this lifetime. Right? Okay. But what is a startup anyway? What is a startup anyway? Sino pong nakanood? Sino nakanood? Meron? Ayun, si ate. Loba na ako. Okay. Kaya po ako naka-wireless. This is it. Hindi. Hindi ako. Sino? Meron isa doon? Asa na? May nagtataas somewhere here. Sige na. Nakanood ng K-drama? Yes? Somebody? Oy! Okay lang naman manood ng K-drama. Especially, may nandun. Yung Tagalog, si Bea Alonzo, the adaptation. Anyone? May nagtuturo. Si Sir, pwede ba ako sa estudyante, Sir, ha? Okay, bibisita lang ako. Ganto tayo hanggang mamaya. Huwag kayo matakot. Okay, hello. Di ba lang na inabot ko? Hello. Ayan. May tanong ako, Sir. Kung nakanood mo ng K-drama or narinig na ang startup, hindi na or marinig mo na ang startup as a term, sir? Hindi pa. Promise, papanoorin pa lang. Anyone who has heard of the term startup in their subject, nabanggit ng prof, huy, sumali kayo sa startup grant competition. Anyone? Promise, aabot ako sa everywhere in this room. Okay. Yung dalawa nating founder, yung maligalig Sarah. Alright, ayaw pa. Sige, aabot din ako sa inyo mamaya, ikot tayo ng ikot dito. But, habang bumabalik ako, kasi maliit pa tayo, hindi ako makikita. Okay, so if this is new for most of you, there is this movement of using technology and innovating on new ideas, new businesses, so that we can solve old problems in new ways, right? For the people involved, we sometimes, or most of the time, call them startup founder. We call them technopreneur. Technology, entrepreneur. Pero ano nga ba yung ginagawa nila, right? If you are using any of these, raise your hand. Hindi mo ko bababa. Takot pa. Okay. Wala naman ako. Hingal na ako. Okay. Nakapag-Metro Mart, bumili ng grocery, nakapag-Duolingo, aggressive language learning, right? Of course, ang ating Gcash and Maya, ang savior of the day, ang cash, right? These are what you might imagine to be startups, new businesses that use technology in new and innovative ways that changed our lives and changed how businesses have been done very, very recently, right? These are startups that you might be using in everyday life. But if we formalize it, kung magkukwis po yung mga prof, ito yun, definition, right? What is a startup in the formal sense? And if you go into the startup community, they will say, a startup is a temporary organization. Temporary, hindi forever. Forever. Temporary organization designed to search for a repeatable and scalable business model. This is a definition by one of the pioneers in the innovation and startup space, si Steve Blank. Pinasimple po siya ni Kubo. When we go around in the classes, we use semi-simplified, Balit. Oops. Balit. Ayan. So we simplify the content of the definition, but we highlight the same things. Si Kubo, we say, a startup is a project, still ongoing, still moving, with the potential to be highly scalable, working to solve a problem where the solution is innovative or is new. It's doing something different. What does that mean? I may important note that it involves technology, because technology is a driver for many things in this definition. But to understand better, bakit project or bakit temporary ang startups? Did you know that YouTube, the YouTube that we have now, was originally designed by the founder to be a dating call platform. So they designed it where you can video yourself to find the search for love. And it was called Tune In, Hope Up. Yeah. But when they were designing it originally as a dating and call for love app, walang video of themselves to do the thing. They figured those who are using the platform were just videoing their daily life. Anong fun, anong kapeng ininom, saan pumunta, may aso. Eventually, they figured out what they imagined would originally work does not work, and what worked was something else. Projects are something that are still being figured out. Startups are things that are not yet definite and still is being figured out. Kaya siya project. Habang yung founder nag-figure out pa, startup ka pa. Right? It is not forever. Hindi goal ng startups na maging startup forever. Eventually, dapat, they figure out what works for them. Next, scalable, repeatable business model. It says, build once, deploy a million times. When you say scalable, something can be grown 5 times, 10 times, 100 times, a million times with less resource or faster time or more malawak coverage, right? And this is specifically driven by technology. So if you imagine Airbnb in the original story was just 2 roommates who had an idea to have strangers matulog sa airbed. Sabi nila, sige, matulog kayo sa airbed, paglutuan ko pa kayo ng breakfast the next day, if fully booked ang hotels and willing kayo to crash, we are here. Airbnb. Sa apartment nila, it started with forums in the United States, grew out, this is old numbers, but it grew out into 191 countries. Starting from 2 people, because of a build once, deploy a million times. There are many people who experience the problem, not just in their country, but in almost all countries where they are, right? And that is powered by technology. If you have an idea, pwede sa Makati, pwede sa Paranaque, sa Bicol, sa buong Luzon, sa buong Southeast Asia, we're looking for that, di ba? And solving a problem where the solution is doing something new. Hindi pwedeng pareho na lang kasi hindi nag-work. So innovating. And if you are familiar, in the Philippines, there are industries that are now being disrupted by startups. So logistics in export business. Yung banana chips, yung Uber roll in Bulacan can now be exported with slightly smaller scale because of the help of startups like One Export. Yung mga freelancer na hindi marunong magbayad ng tax can now be assisted because of startups like Taxumo in the bottom, right? So we have a lot of industries in the Philippines: fintech, education, resilient community, agriculture, education, pets, law, a lot of industries where there are innovation and startups that are present, experimenting on ways to do things. So, if we sum it up, startups, founders are, in essence, in their soul, problem solvers. Una-una. We also consider them the new breed of innovator/entrepreneur. Hindi lang entrepreneur, binabago pa nila. But not just any entrepreneur, an entrepreneur with big visions for scale, for 100 times bigger, for 1,000 times bigger, possibly. Right? So, ayan. Pero bakit nga ba, yung mga prof natin, pinapasok tayo dito, tapos in-exempt tayo sa exam today. In your 10th year. Why do we want to preach an innovative mindset? Not even a startup mindset. Umpisahan natin sa innovation. Why do we need to innovate in wherever we are, in whatever course we are? In this day and age, if you abide only by the status quo because of the fast changes in everything, you snooze, you lose, diba? Disrupt or die out. Matalo ka na lang ng competition. But when you adopt an innovative mindset, and if done right and if scalable, technology drives growth and impact. So, kayang dalhin ng ideas and ng technology, and it enables solutions to be spread faster, easier, wider, and possibly cheaper. Sino po yung business-related courses? Halo-halo yung nasa red siya. Okay, nandito, mga 1/3. Yung ComSci, computer apps related, app dev, may ganun ba? Around 1/3 also. Coms or arts? Health? Nursing? Anong course itong nasa, ayun. Kaya po dyan, ang course ay management, app dev, okay, computer studies also. So we will see a mix of things because you are from different backgrounds. As I mentioned earlier, disrupt or die industries in the Philippines, whether it is the focus of UMak or not. These are things that Filipino startups are now changing and are now wanting to innovate. Agriculture, kung saan kumukuha ng pera yung farmers for input before harvest time. Kung meron kayong family of farmers, nangungutang sila sa loan sharks. But there was a platform called Capital where ako, ikaw, kahit sino sa atin pwede mag-fund ng farmer for as low as 5,000 pesos in capital. This was a project started as a senior thesis in UP, Diliman. Invested is a platform for scholarships. So kung nangutang kayo sa bank and you have a score in the bank, Invested gives students a score for kung pwede kayong pag-loanin for your scholarships or pangutang for laptop. Kung responsableng estudyante, mas mataas ang score. Resbin is a plastic recycling and materials recovery startup in Iloilo, where they have now partnered with large corporations to do materials recovery, specifically plastic. A lot more industries that we do not have time to cover, and again, why do we think that everyone in this room can start with an innovative mindset? And what does that really mean? Gusto lang naman namin, in any of the courses, whether you are liberal arts, business management, computer studies, maging curious, maging innovative, and that's where that starts. What does that look like? These are people, and if you can, with your group mates, with your projects, ask things like, I wonder why something is the way it is. Bakit pag 7 a.m. punong-puno yung kalsada paliko ng UMak? Bakit pag summer, di ba, ajit na ajit yung mga tao at nasa mall lahat, right? How can I test my assumptions on what I understand? How can I do things better or get better results? Can I do more? Can I create things with other people and do things together? This, in any of your courses, is a start. We don't think naman na itutulak natin lahat to be founders agad-agad bukas. But we believe that innovation is for all, and it starts with a mindset, right? Startup mindset is just thinking differently and making solutions happen because we believe innovation is for all. And this is where solutions, new and meaningful solutions, should start. Maiksi lang, but if estudyante ka, and maybe to our founders, I might validate this, we think that founders are observers. They are actively always looking for things to understand the situation. Problem solver. Laging tumatayo sa side ng, okay, may gagawin ako. Hindi sa, papanoorin ko na lang silang ganyan yung sitwasyon. Founders are also innovating, looking at what is now and looking at what can be done better with the not-so-good things in the now. But, and at the end of it, this is not just a hobby, this is not just a charity. For most of the innovators, gusto nilang mabuhay doing what they do, so they are entrepreneurial. Meaning, ginagawa nila yung things na hindi lugi, na hindi natatalo yung interest nila in what they do. So entrepreneurial, doing things smart, hindi lugi, walang sayang. Or konti lang yung sayang, right? And last point before we turn over the segment, where do we start when we start a startup? Or like, what do you need to think about as a student na nakaupo dito? Enough na ba na marunong gumawa ng app to be a founder? Enough na ba na kayang gumawa ng business plan? Founder na ako. We think there are a number of things na kailangang isipin. And I will just start with one, and this will be a good segue for the next segment. But, to our first, Where do we start? We usually start with people. People who want to solve problems and who look at situations that they want to make better. So usually it starts with a team, right? Yan. So we say that a startup team usually has dream team members. These are the kinds of people and the kinds of skills na pag nakuha mo as groupmate mo, hindi kayo babagsak sa capstone. Kompleto yung skills so that you can produce something meaningful. So we call it, before it was 3 H's. Now it is 4. So 3 H's is hacker, hustler, and hipster originally. But in recent years, there is an added H, which is a hound. Okay. Isa-isahin ko lang na mabilis. Hacker is usually the person who understands how to build technology. If gusto nyo to work with technology, kailangan may bubuo. Hustler is the person that understands the business. Usually, magaling magsalita, magaling mag-sales talk, magaling makipag-partnership talk. Right? They make things happen, they negotiate, they agree or disagree with people. Hipster is not your usual dreadlocks and glasses and things like that, but hipster is someone who deals with design, not just in aesthetic, but also in functionality. So, naiintindihan nila na people want this, I can design it into a solution. The last H is a hound, that they are dealing usually with data and data analysis. So a lot of the technology things that we do now deal with a lot of data and understanding why they are important for our decisions. So hacker, hustler, hipster, hound. Question. Raise of hands na lang ulit. Sino dito yung nag-identify in their heart na sila ay hacker in the role if they were to be in a team? Builder, mabuting team, nagbubuo. Not necessarily a ComSci student, but someone who understands how to create and make things work. Hackers in the room? Kahit yung mga up there, hindi Hustlers in the room. Hustler in the actual sense of negotiate, diba? Do business, agree, and get things done. Hipster. Hipsters in the room, design and understands people. Meron din. Mix. And in the courses, nagiging mix. Hounds. Are there people, hounds, data people, gusto nagsispreadsheet? May ilan, bihira yun. Especially in the college students. Alright. Mayroon akong, mamaya lang ako, mamaya na yung tanong ko for this. But we usually say, especially for incubation, for programs and challenges where teams are of the same course, naghahanap kami ng different skills that they will fulfill. Or if hindi, ang pinakamabuti ay different courses altogether so that they can fulfill their skills, their expertise. So isang ComSci, isang business management, isang liberal arts or something like that. Right? Okay. Usually, ganun yung makeup ng teams for innovation challenges. But I say this is the intro that I segue to the next segment because I want to hear from founders that fulfilled these actual roles in their startup. Maybe one of them, maybe all of them at the same time. So I will transition this muna to our next segment, and we will move to life of a student startup founder. So we do have in the room 2 founders that are still students? Yeah, nag-start as students. And they will tell you in real experiences what happens if you start your innovation journey young. So we will skip to the next part muna so that we can welcome the founders to tell their story, and then those founders will come in with a moderator later where you can ask questions. So I will call first our first startup founder. So we have first on the list Victor Villafuerte, founder and president of QBO Learning Corporation.
Okay. Okay. Ayun, so good morning everyone. Before we start, so mag-icebreaker muna tayo. So, everyone raise your right hand. Okay, raise your right hand. Tapos, tap nyo yung person sa right nyo, sabihin nyo, you are so guwapo or you are so maganda kapag babae. Yan, sige. Everyone naman, raise your left hand. Sabihin nyo sa person sa left nyo, pero mas guwapo or mas maganda ka. Yan, so, okay. Hopefully yung clicker okay na, or pwede ba nating pwede ko bang i-navigate yung slide habang nandito? Sige nga, sa next slide tayo. Napaata. Ayun, okay. So, ang ikukwento ko ngayon is my journey as a student founder, di ba? Kung paano ko sinimulan yung company ko, and paano ko nakuha yung idea. So again, I am Victor Joseph Villafuerte, the President and CEO of QBO. Tapos, I graduated Civil Engineering in UP Diliman. At yun, I took the boards in November 2018. So, sige, next slide tayo. Yan. So, about me, yan nga, I graduated UP and yan, I took yung very unorthodox path of, next slide. Yan, diretso na agad. After I graduated college and passed the boards, hindi na ako nag-apply sa kahit anong trabaho. Agad ako nag-startup life. So, very risky move for me. Let's see how it worked out. Next. Yan. So, kung iisipin nyo, ano ba ang isang normal startup journey? Diba, kunyari, may iisipan nyo mag-build or mag-start ng company. Ano yung maiisipan nating roadmap? Diba ito siya? Parang idea. Diba, meron kayong idea, tapos ila-launch nyo yung idea nyo. Tapos, syempre, profit. Diba? If it were only as simple as that. So, next slide tayo. Ano yung mas realistic na startup journey? Ganito siya. Para siyang maze kung saan magkakaroon kayo ng idea, magla-launch kayo, magpipivot kayo, magla-launch kayo, magpipivot kayo, at yun, finally yan, i-iterate nyo until magkaroon ng profit. So, ganito yung more realistic journey of a startup founder. So, ikwento ko, paano nga ba kami nagsimula? Next. Yan, so, sabi ka na ba? Yan, idea. So, syempre, nagsisimula lahat ng startups sa isang idea. Yan, so, konting background lang ay, ito yung mga, yan, I interned. Diba, civil engineering graduate kasi ako, so nag-intern ako sa isang construction company. At doon ko nalaman na hindi ko pala talaga passion. Hindi ko passion yung mag-construction. Instead, I found my passion in teaching. So, yan, nung sumali ako sa student council, isa sa mga naging projects namin was, yan, gumawa ako ng YouTube channel para magturo ng mga subjects for my fellow students. So, ito, may mga subjects ako where I taught engineering. Tapos, yun, nagulat ako sa mga comments. Kasi sa mga comments, ayan, wait lang, previous slide tayo. Sa mga comments na na-receive namin, marami nagsabi na mas natutunan nila, di ba? Mas natutunan nila yung videos ko, yung lessons nila through my videos rather than sa mga professors. And I think that is mainly because nauulit nila. Di ba kapag YouTube video, nauulit mo yung mga lessons kapag hindi nyo naintindihan the first time. Pero kapag, kunyari, nasa classroom at nagtuturo yung instructor, medyo nakakahiya. Di ba na ipaulit natin sa instructor. So doon ko nakuha yung unang idea. I found out na, mukhang may potential ito kapag i-pursue ko after college. So yan nga, nag-launch kami. So yan, ang una naming idea, since wala pa naman kaming any budget, di ba, any budget to really make this a full-time job. Una namin nagkuhang idea is, what if mag-room to room kami? Commute kami school to school, kausapin namin yung faculty, we propose na makapag-UPCAT review or college entrance exam review sa mga school. So, 40 plus schools yung binisita namin. Hulaan nyo, out of the 40, iilan dyan ang nag-accept? Hulaan nyo. 2? 5? 10? May nagsabing 10? Ilan kaya? Isa lang. Isang school out of 40. Isa lang yung nag-accept. Pero we were so happy. Kasi, ang tagal-tagal namin nag-iikot ng school, finally may isa nag-accept. Pero that is in Tarlac. Diba, naubos namin lahat ng schools sa Quezon City or lahat ng schools na reachable sa amin. Sa Tarlac may pumayag. So, ang sabi nila, ang interested daw, 40 to 50 students. Wow, so sobrang ganda ng start agad. So, noong pumunta kami sa Tarlac, hulaan nyo naman kung ilang students ang nandun. Ilang students? 30? Okay, ilang students? 3. Okay? So, 3 lang. Diba? Imagine nyo how we felt. Diba? Nag-travel kami from Quezon City to Tarlac. Tapos, hinanda namin yung mga lesson plan. Tapos, 3 pala yung, 3 yung nag-show up. So, syempre, hindi siya sustainable. We cannot travel kasi to and from Quezon City to Tarlac for a few months. Diba? Kung 3 students lang naman, hindi siya sustainable. So, yung tinigil na namin, nag-try naman kami mag-pivot a second time. Diba? So, yung second pivot namin was a summer camp. Diba, summer camp kung saan tuturuan namin yung mga students sa summer break nila. Pero, yan, makikita nyo dito kung bakit nag-fail yung summer camp namin. Tingnan natin yung date. Tingnan nyo, makikita nyo, ang date niyan, 2020. So, kakasimula pa lang ng pandemic, doon kami nag-launch. So, syempre, hindi rin yan nag-work out. So, syempre, nag-pivot ulit kami. Yan, kasi, during that time din, gumagawa na ako ng mga YouTube videos. Diba? So, January 26, 2020, I launched my first YouTube video and, ayun, ang naging goal ko nun was to make yung lessons not as boring. Kasi diba, when we think of math lectures, ganyan yung maiisip natin. Very boring, disengaging, at mas gugustuhin na lang natin manood ng Netflix. So gusto ko, gawing Netflix quality. Diba? So humingi ako ng pera sa parents ko para makabili ng equipment para talaga maging Netflix quality yung mga videos namin. And, yan, super daming comments namin na-receive. Diba? And sakto. Sumakto din yung timing kasi 2020 was the time na nag-shift, diba, to online learning yung mga schools. So, a lot of people came to my YouTube channel para matuto ng mga lessons nila na na-miss dahil nga sa pandemic. Okay? And yun, January namin sinimulan yung YouTube and by May, na-decide namin na, it's time na ata para na-monetize ito. Nagawin talaga siyang business. So, nilaunch namin yung Civil Engineering Review Program and tatanungin ko ulit kayo, ilan sa tingin nyo yung nag-enroll sa amin? Ilan? 20? 10? 110. So, 110 yung unang batch namin. We were so happy na, di ba, from 3, naging 110. So, that is a huge achievement na sa amin nun. And syempre, hindi pa din nagsastop. Di ba? We kept on improving, adding more instructors. So, 1, 3, 4, 5. Ayan. And so, yan na yung team namin ngayon. Yan. And na-featured din kami. Yan. Featured din kami sa CNN and TV5. And yan, di ba? From one school na nag-accept, ito na lahat na naging partner schools namin. And yun, very overwhelming talaga na makita itong picture na ito kasi talagang from isang school lang, di ba? Ngayon naman, ilang beses na ako in-invite or ilang beses na kami na-invite sa schools all over the Philippines. And yun, from 3 students, right now we are at 10,000. Okay? And ito rin yung mga notable enrollees namin. Most notably, na kapag we were able to make a 52-year-old working mother pass the civil engineering board exam. But after 10 attempts na nag-enroll siya sa amin, isang beses lang, pasatan siya agad. Okay? At yun, other than that, yun, 3 beses din kami, 3 straight years kami naka-achieve ng top 1. 3 of our students, 2022, 2023, and 2024, got top 1 in the board exam. And yun, most recently, last year lang, I designed my own calculator in collaboration with Canon. So ito siya. And yan, most recent achievement naman is sa YouTube channel. We just achieved 100,000 subscribers at obtained the silver play button. And yun, so again, balik tayo sa roadmap ng isang startup founder kung saan idea, launch, pivot, iterate, and then, yan, once na magka-profit na kayo, hindi pa dun tumitigil, kailangan you keep on improving your product, you keep on making customers happy. Okay? So what have we learned? Ano yung mga natutunan namin sa sa journey namin on building a startup? So product founder fit, marami tayong naririnig na product market fit. Diba? Kailangan natin ma-achieve product market fit, pero ang mas importante doon is product founder fit. Ano yun? Dapat kung ano yung product na i-build nyo, it should align with your strengths, with your interests. Kasi mahirap, kunyari ang isang founder na walang background sa medicine, di ba? Would build a health or medicine app, hindi siya masyado magiging interested doon, hindi siya masyado magiging passionate doon. Dapat talaga, kung anong product ang bibilin, kung anong product ang gagawin nyo, it should align with your strengths and with your interests. So success is 1% idea, 99% execution. So kung may idea ka, hindi lang dapat doon natitigil, dapat talaga you should put in the work, you should show up, that is what matters. And ito gusto kong i-share, yung isa sa favorite quotes ko. Here's the reality. Being inspired doesn't happen every day. You will have days when you just don't want to do anything, and yet you need to move. That's when discipline enters the picture. And many times, the disciplined outlasts the inspired. So, nang ibig sabihin yan, marami tayong araw, di ba, na motivated tayo. Marami tayong araw na, parang gustong-gusto ko magtrabaho or gustong-gusto ko mag-aral, mag-work ngayon. Pero, what determines the success of a person is hindi kung ano yung mga nagagawa niya sa mga araw na yun. If a person disciplines himself, if a person can discipline themselves, even sa mga araw na tinatamad siya, even sa mga araw na pinanghinaan siya ng loob, that is what determines a successful person. The next, or last na quote na, gusto ko lang ding i-share ito, it doesn't matter how many times you fail, you only have to be right once, and then everyone can tell that you are an overnight success. So, ilang beses kami nag-fail, ilang beses, di ba kami nag-launch, tapos nag-iterate, pero it just takes one idea. Diba? One successful idea, and everyone can tell that you are an overnight success. And yun, hindi ko mapi-play, pero ito yung clip ko sana sa PTV4, wherein I mentioned yung long-term goal talaga namin for Kipap is that gusto namin na Kipap ang maging go-to platform ng students kung nahihirapan sila sa mga lessons nila. So, for example, kung may grade 2 student na nahihirapan sa fractions, gusto namin na Kipap yung unang maisip niya na lapitan. So again, thank you everyone for attending. And you can follow me on my social media platforms.
Thank you, Victor. Ayan. We will have Victor sit muna. We will have you back upstage later for your panel. So, thank you. Kung may question kay Victor, may time mamaya for question and answer direct sa kanya. But we do have another founder to tell her story. So we have another founder who started very, very young. May I call on stage Alyssa Wee, co-founder and chief operations officer at Dormy.
Hello. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Sana gising pa kayo dahil maraming tayong pagchichikahan. So there, yes, I'm Alyssa Wee of Dormy. You may have heard of Dormy already in your FYP, Facebook, or nung naghahanap kayo ng dorm or apartment here around Makati if you're from the provinces. So, before we formally start and know the journey of Dormy, I'd like to introduce myself as well. So, yes, I started as a student. Actually, nung nagpa-plan kami for Dormy, second year college pala kami noon, at hindi namin in-expect. And I took up financial economics and data science in DLSU. And aside from that, I'm also a BS org during college. So during that time, dun ko na experiment yung skills ko, what I love to do or what I don't love to do. And I also joined different scholarship programs and exchange programs in the US and here in the Philippines, wherein I gained a top 30 slot in the AmChamp business program. And aside from that, we've also joined different competitions as a student for Dormy, so one of which is She Loves Tech, and I was one of the youngest finalists. So imagine yung mga kasama ka doon is mga tita na or so much bigger than Dormy, big giants na company. So that time, I was really, really intimidated since ayun, college student pa lang, at saka nag-explore pa lang ng career options, right? So actually, the most important thing, this was Dormy's first competition. And it was actually also RISE. But I think the management or facilitating organization has differed kasi this one was facilitated by the City of Makati, hindi pa ng UMak, and in partnership with Digital Pilipinas pa. So as you can see, same name but different program. And this one was not partnered with the school yet. So yung mga kasama namin dito is big giants as well, such as Empath, HealthDex, Foreign, ano pa ba? Quick Care. So, puro titas at titos din yung makasama namin right now. And I'm there at the middle, sobrang liit. So, this was during 2022, right after the pandemic. So you get to know, to be able to get to know the context of Dormy, I'd also like to ask, kapag nanggaling ka sa probinsya, or, kunyari, Laguna, Batangas, tapos gustong-gusto mo makapasok sa UP Diliman, sa Big Four, saan ka hanap ng lugar na pagtutuluyan? Hindi naman feasible na parang araw-araw pabalik-balik ka. Kapag Muntinlupa, Las Piñas, baka pwede pa. Pero what if galing kang Batangas, di ba mahirapan ka, lalo na kapag medicine student ka, engineering student ka, need mo ng much more time to study than to travel, lalo't na maraming traffic dito sa Pilipinas. So, how do you find a place to stay? So, doon namin na-realize na sobrang laki ng demand ng Pilipinas sa residential short-term or second housing because archipelago tayo. Costly yung airplane, malayo, and usually yung mga tao nag-rely sila sa Facebook. Kaso, nung pandemic, na-realize namin na puro scam siya kasi ginagawang sideline yung pag-agent, hindi sila license para makakita ng pera. Nung pandemic din, doon din nagsilabasan yung mga listings right after. Kasi yung mga pandemic, naging unoccupied sila, right? So, nag-boost sila ng marketing right after the pandemic kasi nagsisibalikad yung mga work from home, yung schools, nag-reopen ulit. So, sobrang nag-boost yung scam sa Facebook. And that is how Dormy came to be. We built a trusted marketplace for renters where you can search, inquire, visit, and most importantly, move in just 3 easy steps. So, because of that, we garnered around 68,000 users sign-ups, but we started with actually student renters around New Belt sa Palok area. Then, tinap namin yung TAF. Then, after na ma-realize namin na hindi lang students yung may kailangan ng rental platform, pati rin pala yung mga professionals, we started to tap Makati, Quezon City, Taguig already. But with this traction, they're all nothing without our realizations. So how is it being a student founder? So baka narinig nyo na to, or minsan nilarant nito kapag sobrang hirap ng exam or bumagsak kayo sa exam. Ginawa ko na rin to eh. Hindi mo naman kailangan maging magaling sa pag-aaral para magtayo ng business. Sino naniniwala dito? Raise your hand. Walang tamang sagot. Tama, walang tamang sagot. We all have our own reasons. Okay, marami. Sino naman yung hindi naniniwala dito? Okay, that's okay. So, mixed opinions, right? And for me, both may point. Because school life matters. Not the grade, but the experience and the discipline you built. Kasi, ang importante, hindi ka maka-100, pero kung ano yung ginawa mo para makakuha yung 100, ano yung ginawa mo para makakuha yung 90, yung 80, wala lang yung number. Ang importante yung journey. Bakit? Because the school is where you built your first career capital. Your skills, connections, credentials, character, runway. Pag-uusapan natin yan. So this was me from elementary to college. Imagine, actually elementary, sobrang academic conscious ko. Ako yung sinasabihan nila or binubuli na, ang bookish mo naman, pang-book ka lang, hindi ka lalago after college. Kasi yun yung laging story sa Facebook, right? Like sila Mark Zuckerberg. Hindi naman sila matalino sa classroom. Actually ako yun. Sobrang naghabol ako for grades. Pero I realized that dumating ako sa point na hindi na dapat ako naghabol for grades. So change ko yung mindset ko na yung mga pambubuli nila, mas galingan ko pa. Pero nakatulong din yung pagiging academic conscious ko kasi doon ko na-build yung bilis ko sa math, sa English, sa pag-write. Kasi sa startups, need mo talagang bilisan eh. Kasi mauubos yung resources mo kapag mabagal ka. So after elementary, high school, dito na nagsimulang maging BS Org, campus journalist, nagbebenta ng Silvanas. Kaya nung pandemic, nag-boom siya kasi maraming nag-crave ng sweets. Nalala ko pa yung Dalgona coffee. So actually, dahil rin sa side gigs ko nung high school at pandemic, na-feature din ako sa GMA with sino yun? Vico Morales at saka si May Bautista for my Silvanas reseller gig. And during college, puro BS Org pa rin ako niyan. So, sa isang org, marketing ako. Sa isang org, finance ako. Sa isang org, marketing, finance, communication, at events ako. So, exploration stage talaga yung college point ko up until nahanap ko si Dormy. So, with Dormy, nag-utilize ko lahat ng career capital ko, which I mentioned a while ago, yung basic core with English, math, etc., communication, network I gained from friends and professors in school due to my org gigs, especially with Dormy being students, our first student market. Sobrang nakatulong siya. So, all of it made sense. So, with Dormy, my professors recommended me to join a fellowship in the US, visiting Harvard, MIT, New York. So without the credibility I built with my professors, I wouldn't get that. Others naman is yung mga nakilala kong Gen Z, like-minded people din from different universities, Big Four, non-Big Four. Nakilala ko rin sila through events outside college. Ito naman was my first speakership. Sobrang kabado ko pa niyan. Nanginginig pa ako niyan, sabi ng audience ko. So, as you can see, the journey really matters. And the most heartwarming part of this college actually was my picture team building with my first interns. hindi sila Big Four eh. Both Big Four and non-Big Four. PUP, TUP, DLSU, UP Diliman. And sobrang natouch ako dito kasi I betted on them. Lahat sila first internship nila sa Dormy. And bakit ganun yung naging hiring strategy ko? Kasi naniniwala ako na wala yan sa grades, wala rin masyado sa experience kasi trainable sila. It's more on their personality. Sa startup kasi maraming, lalo na innovative, wala kang back history na pagtitracean eh. Lahat parang from scratch. Lahat ikaw unang gagawa. Kaya nga tinawag nilang innovator. And kaya rin marami sa startups ay first mover. So, after Dormy, natuwa ako kasi hindi sila nag-internship, dumiretso sila straight to their first job. And then, hindi na sila associate. Yung isa na hire as customer success manager agad. Karamihan sa kanila, assistant manager. So imagine, just because of their experience in startups, ganun yung narating nila. They somewhat skipped a step. And nagawa nila to habang nag-learn sila for startup. So, habang college ka, may time ka, maybe you could explore interning at several startups to know the waters or to test the waters before before leading a startup, rather. So, imagine all those events. Ano ba yung dapat? Specialist or generalist? At yung laging pinagdadebatahan dati, right? Actually, dati parang gusto ko maging specialist, pero na-realize ko, may pros rin pala sa pagiging generalist. At yung tinatawag nilang P-shape, lalo na right now na startups wear many hats, need mo talagang pag-aralan lahat, kahit konti lang, pero dapat may 40 ka pa rin. Kasi kung maging half-baked ka sa skills, saan ka magaling? Madali kang mapapalitan. So for example, sa CTO, dapat may alam ka sa UI, UX, analysis, coding, testing, deploy. Pero yung 40 ng typical CTO na to ay coding. So, someone will hire him kasi may 40 na siya, tapos alam pa niya yung lahat. Ako naman, as COO, since economic graduate, so finance, market research, so marketing, sales, admin stuff. So mostly, I'm more of a hustler with a bit of yung sa creativity side. Pero ang pinaka-40 ko talaga is finance at saka sales. Actually, hindi ko pa alam kung alin talaga yung sa dalawang yun eh. Pero yun kasi yung lagi kong ginagawa. So, there. So, as you can see, this is Dormy now. We've partnered with DMCI. Tapos FINMA. FINMA is a real estate / education foundation company known here in the Philippines. Tapos, there we were recently granted by the DOST for a project to boost our technology and to improve our technology further. Tapos, ayun, marketing, nagti-TikTok rin ako on the side. So as you can see, organizations in school will help you boost your sales skills kasi for sure may mga sponsorships na kayong or collaborations with brands during your events. And then, since naging journalist ako, I learned how to connect with media and angles in terms of writing blogs kasi since web-based platform kami, we need to boost our SEO as well. So events, usual operations. Then the network, this was really important, lalo sa professors kasi of course, kapag makikipag-consult ka sa isang professional outside of your school, may bayad pa yan. Abutin yan ng 20 mil, like 10K, 20, minsan 50K pa, kasi syempre expert na sila. But also, our professors are also experts in their respective fields. So imagine if close may isang professor, nakalibre ka na ng consultation, may, libreng kaibigan ka ba? So, find a supported community of professors in your university. For sure, meron yan. Tapos, ayan, referrals through your friends, professors as well, partnerships, who knows, yung katabi mo pala ay future founder or co-founder mo. So, there. Resources. Ito, na-maximize rin namin to, especially Canva, stigma, may mga education free years sila. So imagine, 3/4 of our university, medyo mababa yung subscription cost namin in terms of making a website. Kasi ginamit namin yung free dahil sa edu.ph emails namin. Tapos TBIs, they're really supportive in opening up networks as well. And of course, QBO, that's why they partner with UMak. So what did I learn as a student founder? So in school, we were always taught to always find the right answer, right? Sa exams, sa oral, ano pa ba? Basta laging, ano ba yung tamang sagot? Pakopya nga ng tamang sagot. Pero sa real world, or lalo sa paggawa ng isang business, mas mahirap actually hanapin yung maling, yung tamang problema. Ironic, right? Bakit? Ang daming problema sa mundo, lalo sa Pilipinas. But hindi lahat ng problemang yon ay worthy na solusyonan. Kasi yung iba doon, inconvenience lang. Lalo na tayo mga Pilipino, aminin natin, and also because of our economic status, hindi ganun ka-okay yung willingness to pay natin. Or, as they say, yung iba, kuripot. Alam natin yan. Kaya yung iba madalas marketplace, di ba? Kasi libre. So, importante na malaman natin kung yung gusto ba nating solusyonan ay malaking problema ba talaga or hindi. And I think this will be taught by QBO in your bootcamps. Tawag dito Tam-Samsom. Check the market size, check your competitors if there is really a market. Pero this is one thing that we usually do when iterating. So earlier, Victor illustrated how they iterated. But this is more of a scientific guide. So build, measure, feedback loop. So once you build, measure it through your launch, and then after your launch, learn from your launch, and then the cycle repeats itself. And I would like to share this book by Rob Fitzpatrick. Sabi niya rather, talk about your life. I talk about your life instead of your idea. Ask about the past instead of generics about the future. So medyo malabo siya, right? So i-explain ko. Sa school kasi, kunyari may market survey, yung nilalagay nating mga tanong, usually, kunyari gusto ko magbenta ng bag, ang itatanong mo, kapag nagbenta ba ako ng bag na may ganitong kulay, kapag nagbenta ba ako ng bag na price at 1,000, bibilhin mo ba? Ang sinabi niya, wag daw natin to gawin as survey questionnaires during FGDs meaning focus group discussions, interviews, or even simple surveys kasi prone to bias. Bakit? For example, kaya ito ginawa or tinitle na mom test. Kapag bumili ka ng bagong damit, tapos yung mom mo yung inas mo kung maganda ba ito or hindi, ano kaya magiging sagot niya? Oo. Yes. Kasi syempre mahal ka niya. Pero yung mga customers mo, hindi mo yan kaano-ano. So, mas importante na marinig mo yung totoong feedback niya or ng customers mo through this mom test. So, kung gusto niyo malaman kung paano ba gawin yun, basahin niyo si The Mom Test by Rob Fitzpatrick. Sobrang nakatulong siya sa amin, and it was one of the first books I read when I was coursing through this student founder journey. Kasi syempre, hindi lahat ng na tututunan natin outside world ay meron sa curriculum natin. So, aside from that, aside from the formality, ang pinaka natutunan ko rin as street smart is matuto mag-angkas. Kasi sobrang traffic talaga ng Pilipinas. Pero don't get me wrong, nagko-commute ako, nagbabus, jeep, tricycle. Pero kasi kung mag-MRT ka pa, kunyari sa UMak, galing akong PTEX. From Las Piñas kasi ako PTEX, LRT, tatawid ako ng MRT, Guadalupe, yung baba ko. Kaya ko bang lakarin yung UMak? Kaya kapag di ako nagmamadali. Pero paano kapag 30 minutes lang yung pagitan? So, kapag ganon, nag-aangkas na lang ako. And that time kasi, nasa school pa ako noon. So, minsan yung pagitan ko from my last class to the next meeting, client meeting, ay 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Kapag ganon, wala na akong tiwala, rush hour pa, angkas na. And imagine, tingnan mo, around 12 a.m. ko na ata ito sinasakyan kaya wala nang sasakyan. So, 12 a.m., 1 a.m., angkas pa rin kasi convenient. So, Yan siguro yung unfair advantage ng angkas, kaya sila nag-boom sa Pilipinas. So, I hope you learn a lot from my talk, both hacks or the formalities. And I would like to advise you that you shall build your career capital as early as now, or shall we say, start your career journey or student founder journey with RISE competition. So thank you so much and God bless.
Thank you. Actually, hindi pa tayo tapos kay Lisa. So you will sit with Victor and one of our teammates will also come up as moderator for our panel. So I will also call on Dieter Bueno, Senior Program Associate for Startup Development. If you have questions for the founders or for the QBO team, and then si Dieter, they will have time to talk more about their personal life, to talk more about business hacks, business failures, business successes in the panel. So I will turn this over to Dieter and the founders.
All right. Hello. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Are you excited for this panel discussion? All right. I love the energy. So again, I am Dieter Bueno from QBO Innovation and Idea Space, and I'll be moderating this fireside chat about the life of a student founder. No? So today we are joined by two amazing and inspiring startup founders who build their, or who began their startup journey or venture while still in school and continued it building after graduation. No? So once again, we have Alisa from Dormy and Victor from KeepUp. No? So Alisa and Victor really set the stage for this fireside chat, no? Kasi, from their keynotes, hearing their startup journey as a students, no? The challenges that they faced, the lessons that they learned, the triumphs that they celebrated. They are truly inspiring, and it shows that it is really possible, no, when passion meets perseverance, no. And so today, for this fireside chat, we will dive even deeper, to their experiences, to get more insights from them, and to really learn from their experiences, and probably if they have some advice for you guys, especially for you who wanted to start their own startups, while still in school, So to start us off, let's do a quick rewind, I know that it's not Thursday, but I want to do a throwback, kumbaga, So let's start it before the startup thing happened, So what was your life before you became a startup founder? So what was your student life before building your venture? So what's your typical day, kumbaga, sa school or sa university? Probably we can start with Alisa.
Okay. So, as mentioned a while ago, sobrang BS org ako noon. Like 5 orgs. Kasi gusto ko matry lahat ng roles. Kasi hindi ko alam kung sa marketing ba ako bagay, finance, communications. Kaya rin ako nag-economics kasi may quarter life crisis ako noon. Kahit di pa quarter. Kaya economics broad siya, right? Para kung mag-iba man yung isip ko, okay lang. Reversible yung option. So, there. So, usually, minsan, 70% org work yung ginagamit ko, 30% academics. Pero kapag may exam or malapit na yung midterms, bumabaliktad yun. 70% student, 30% orgs. So, prioritization lang talaga.
Alright, thank you so much for sharing that. How about you, Victor? What's your typical day as a student?
Yeah, I think kabaligtaran ni Alisa. Kasi ako noon, when I entered college, talagang ang focus ko noon was sa ACADS. Like, I was this nerdy kid na talagang walang masyadong org na sinasalihan, tapos puro ACADS lang. It was only on my last year sa college na parang nasabak ako sa student council, and it was also my first leadership position pa. Pero doong huling taon talaga, ang dami kong natutunan, and a lot of those I still apply today.
Alright, yeah, super relatable mo. Kahit ako naman din, I'm BS org din ng college, So, like a typical student life, it's really quite demanding with all the exams, deadlines, schoolworks, org works, and then probably if you're an athlete pa, so meron kang practices after classes, And yet you choose to add something bigger on top of that, which is starting your own venture. So, I want to know, when did that shift happen? Or when did the student life turn to a student found their life? Probably we could start with Victor.
Ayun, I think it started noong inasign sa akin yung project na gumawa ng YouTube videos for my fellow students. So student din ako pero gumagawa ko ng lecture videos on engineering lessons. Tapos yun, doon ko nakita yung potential ng aking idea kasi based sa comments, yun din talaga. The comments are what validated yung idea ko and what made me think na it might be worth pursuing in the future.
How about you, Lisa?
Ako naman, may ano ako nun eh. Di ba nga may life crisis? Hindi actually ako economics lang. May kasama yun, accountancy. Alam naman natin yung accountancy, di ba? Sobrang hirap nun. Akala ko rin pang math kasi yun eh. Mahilig ako sa math, pero hindi pala siya pang math. So, nung na-realize ko na mas nag-enjoy ako sa dormy at tinatamad ako mag-aral for accountancy kasi ayoko yung nakaupo lang. Nagbabasa ng umuupo, parang ang boring. So, na-realize ko na mas masaya magtrabaho for dormy kaysa mag-aral. So, doon ko din up yung accountancy ko para ma-manage yung college life ko. So, natira na lang yung economics, tapos pinalitan ko ng data science. Kasi, tech is escalating and kailangan natin ng data sa paggawa ng startups. Dapat data-driven tayo. So, there.
Alright. Now, I want to go naman to something very real, no? So, let's talk about balance, no? Like, a very big word, the word balance, no? So, I want to know, how did you balance academic, startup responsibilities, and you mentioned BS or Alisa, and then your personal life as well. So, probably you could start with you, Alisa.
Okay. So, I mentioned a while ago yung priority, diba, nag-iiba-iba. So, I usually think this as a priority ladder. Kung ano yung pinaka-urgent, yun yung unahin ko. At saka important. Kung alam niyo man yung quadrant na yun, what's important, what's urgent, what's important, not urgent, sundin niya yun. I forgot the term for that matrix. And then, ito rin yung isa kong principle na lagi kong iniisip. Yung 80-20 Pareto principle. So, the 20% of what we do shall produce 80% of our outcomes para may advantage ka sa ginagawa mo kahit marami kang ginagawa. What does this mean? For example, influencer ka, hindi naman lahat ng content mo magbubume. May ilan lang yan magiging 1 million views, 500k views. As you can see, 20% lang. Pero nagproproduce siya ng 80% of the outcomes. Para lang rin yan sa airplane seats, economy, tapos may business class, tapos may yung ibang airlines, may premium business pa. Ang recently ko lang ito nalaman na yung profits pala ng airplane ay hindi dahil sa economy, kahit sobrang raming seats for economy. Dahil siya sa business at premium, kahit sobrang onte. So, as you can see, 20% of the seats produce 80% of the profits. So, there. Something to impart or baka ma-apply niyo sa habits niyo.
Alright, thank you so much. How about you, Victor? How do you balance your personal life, your studies, and then being a startup founder?
So, nung nasabak ako sa student council, sobrang bagong mundo nun sa akin. Kaya, for a while, nahirapan ako mag-adjust. Kasi I had to balance yung council work with my ACADS. At nagsabay din dun sa thesis ko. So, yung tatlong yun, in a way, ginapang ko. Pero I learned this concept that helped me manage yung mga tasks ko. And that is, hindi ko alam yung tawag, pero yung tatlong D, yung tatlong D na yun is delay, delegate, o kaya disregard or defer. So, what it means is, sa sobrang daming tasks na kailangan yung gawin, you have to categorize those to 3. Diba? Delay, kung hindi naman priority, pwede mong ipagpaliban muna, gawin mo at a later time. Delegate, pagawa mo sa iba, or disregard or defer, or choose not to do at all. And syempre, yung pang-apat is do, kung ano yung mga kailangan talagang gawin na importanteng bagay.
Alright, probably just a follow-up question. No? I'm sure, but was there a moment that you felt overwhelmed, and then how you did, nagkaroon ba ng konting sacrifices, probably sa social life, o kaya probably time with the parents, with friends, especially you're parang balancing all of this responsibilities and commitment And of course, multitasking, was there a time na parang na-overwhelmed ka na, burn out, I guess, and then probably, yun nga, did it affect yung other commitments or responsibilities mo? So probably we could start with Victor.
So I think that moment happened, hindi na ako student noon. Yung talagang naalala ko was nung kakasimula ko pa lang, new board passer ako, recent board passer ako. And I was just starting na mag-visit ng mga schools. So sa 40 schools na, di ba, binisit namin, sa kalagitnaan ng school visits na yun, I distinctly remember yung moment na after a rejection, talagang umupo ako sa bench ng school na yun and I thought, worth it pa ba na i-continue ito? So that was the moment na burned out ako. Tapos it felt like walang nagiging result yung mga efforts ko. Pero yun, thankfully, pinapursige ko.
Yes, perseverance. Yes. I mean, look at Keep Up now. You have like 10,000 plus enrolled users now. How about you, Anissa?
Okay, so for my end naman, actually yes, after college ko rin na-realize. Kasi nandun na rin yung adulting realizations na kailangan ko nang buhayin sarili ko. Pero aside from that, hindi kasi ako sporty nung college, pero dun ko na-realize yung matter of health. So, nung naramdaman ko yung exhaustion na yon, dun ako nagsimula mag-subscribe sa AF, sa Anytime Fitness. Hindi ako sporty kasi diba bookish ako. Pero, ang galing pala, yung gym, after mo mag-gym, yung mental health mo, naki-clear up niya. So, after ko mag-gym, mas namomotivate ako gumawa ng dormy. So, nakatulong yung pagiging fit ko. Hindi lang actually gym minsan nag-swimming ako para ma-balance out yung exhaustion. And in terms of social life, yes, may sacrifices talaga. So, you should find your own circle or group of friends na maintindihan na low maintenance ka. Actually, yung best friend ko minsan, ina-assignan niya ako kasi once every 3 years lang kami nagkikita or once every 2 years. So, sobrang appreciative ako sa nila. Or if sometimes naman, humanap ka ng friends mo na co-founder mo rin at mas makaka-relate sila sa inyo na bakit ka busy. And who knows, baka yung problema niya, problema mo rin, sabayan nyo ng solusyon. So, there.
Alright, yeah, I super appreciate the honesty. So what I'm getting is that balance isn't perfect, but you need to be intentional with it, balancing responsibilities and managing time and energy, of course. Like, it's okay to multitask, but multitasking is not always the answer to everything, So, and you won't always get everything done and right at the same time. So, building boundaries, building routines, diba, would also allows you to sustain yourself para hindi ka ma-overwhelm or ma-burn out, And then, with regards to this, as you mentioned, it's really challenging to balance everything, and sometimes, of course, not everything goes smoothly, So, my next question is, what were the hardest moments you faced as a student founder? Probably we can start with Lisa.
Okay. So, as you can see, my background, parang gusto kong gawin lahat. Pero na-realize ko sa startup, hindi pala dapat ito gawin. Mahilig ako sa psychology So, tatawagin nating superhero context to. So, superhero meaning parang lahat gusto mong labanan, lahat gusto mong solusyonan. Pero sa startup kasi, kapag gagawin mo yung lahat, yung resources mo, mabilis mauubos. Lalo na kapag bootstrap ka. Bootstrap meaning galing sa sariling pera yung kapital mo, ikaw lang yung masasaktan. So, dapat may focus ka at a certain point of time. Huwag kang maging pleaser, lalo na sa clients mo. Kasi kahit lumalapit sila sa clients, as clients, ma-realize mo at some point, di mo sila client kasi hindi siya sustainable. Just like what Victor has shared a while ago, yung unang 3 students sa Tarlac, good thing he rejected as early as that. Kaya sila nakaabot sa puntong ito. So, there. Don't have that superhero complex. It's okay to reject para mas mahaba yung runway mo. Runway in terms of money. So,
Alright,
there.
thank you so much, Anissa. How about you, Victor? What was your hardest moment as a student founder?
Ayun, I think my hardest moment is also the one that I mentioned before na ilang beses kami nag-iikot sa schools and rejection after rejection. And addition pala dun is yung pressure from my parents. Na, kasi ako yung panganay. So, in a way, meron dong pressure na dapat magkaroon ka na ng career, ng job at this point, bakit hindi ka pa naghahanap. Yung gano'n, I felt it, hindi naman nila sinasabi, pero I felt na gano'n siguro yung iniisip nila. Pero thankfully naman, they supported me enough na they even helped me start by buying the equipment that I needed sa YouTube ko.
Got it. But how did you explain it to your parents? Like, follow-up question, yung ginagawa ng isang startup founder or you as being an entrepreneur in such a young age, no?
Actually, how did I explain? Pinakita ko lang, in-explain ko lang yung vision ko na talagang long-term, ito yung gusto kong gawin, ito yung passionate ako gawin. And thankfully talaga, I'm thankful for my parents talaga for really supporting me sa unang stage ng startup journey ko. And actually ito, narinig nyo na ba yung concept ng triple F? Yan, sa simula ng startup journey mo, 3 types ng tao yung susuporta sa'yo. Tapos 3 F yung, alam niyo kung ano yun? Family, siyempre. Friends, and then fools. Ayan.
Bakit fools?
Fools yung crazy enough to really, share your vision. Kaya fools yung tawag sa kanila.
True. I think it's actually a term that also used sa mga angel investors, no? Kasi as they say, yung mga angel investors, they are the first people who will be investing on their startup. So they are categorized in 3 Fs: family, friends, and fools. How about you, Alisa? Probably any experience on how do you explain or parang paano mo parang na-convince yung parents mo na I want to be a startup founder, I want to be an entrepreneur?
This will be an authentic take kasi actually I came from a broken family naman. So since broken family, hindi ako ganun ka-open sa parents ko. Like, hindi nila alam na, ito na pala yung nagawa ko, nagsumali ng competition. Na papansin na lang na, bakit ang labas na ng labas? Bakit ang busy ko? Bakit lagi ako nagpupuyat? So, parang hinihintay ko silang manotice sila at saka nila ako tanungin. So, honestly, nung sinabi ko naman sa kanila na kaya ako ganito kasi nasa startup ako, good thing, in-accept naman nila kasi thankfully, entrepreneurial kasi yung background ng parents ko. So, it was easy to accept for them. So, there.
Alright, thank you so much for your being vulnerable with us.
Pero, ito yung plot twist. Kalagitnaan ng startup mo, kapag nararamdaman nilang kung nagiging kuripot ka na, medyo gumaganon sila sa akin, na napaparamdam na, bakit hindi ka na lang kumuha ng full-time job? Mag-corporate ka na lang kaya? Okay pa ba yan? Parang gano'n. Kasi kasi sa unang years talaga ng company mo, hindi pa yan profitable. Yeah.
True. Now that you've shared your hardest moment, on the flip side, I want to know naman or ask you, what's your most fulfilling moment as a startup founder? Most fulfilling moment.
Fulfilling.
Maybe we can start with you, Alisa.
Okay. Na-realize ko na kaya ko palang gawin yung mga hindi ko kayang gawin dati. Dati kasi, akala ko nung school, abilities are to be discovered. Innate yan. Parang binigayan ng Diyos. Tama naman. Pero may possible other way pa pala na abilities can be built. Kasi sometimes kaya ka magaling sa isang bagay kasi palagi mo itong ginagawa. Like before, nung high school ako, accountancy gusto ko, math gusto ko. Pero ano ba yung ginagawa ko na right now? Sales. Dati kaya ako gusto ko yung math kasi di mo naman kailangan kumausap ng tao para mag-compute, di ba? Right now, kapag sales, kailangan mo kumausap ng tao. So, doon ko na-realize na nasa sipag lang talaga. So, huwag kayong matakot kapag yung gusto mong maging sa future ay wala pa sa'yo right now. Paghirapan mo. Kaya mo yan.
Alright, how about you, Victor?
And I think most fulfilling moment, may kwento ko na kasi sa review namin, there was one student who medyo makulit. na parang everyday ako tinatanong ng mga questions. Pero, syempre naman, dahil we wanted to help students talaga, I patiently answered yung lahat ng mga questions niya. It went on for months, like araw-araw siya nagsisend ng questions. Pero naman, sinasagot ko naman din lahat ng questions niya. And by the time na mag-board exam siya, gulat kami. Out of the, I think, 11,000 na takers, siya yung nag-top 1. So, very fulfilling for me. And I think yun yung nag-propel sa amin to really grow exponentially, that moment.
All right. Now, I want naman to transition it since we've talked about fulfillment, hardships moment, no? Of course, parang founders, parang it takes a village to build a startup. It takes a village to build a founder. So, who are these people who support you throughout your journey as a startup founder until now na very successful founders na kayo ng Dormy and Kitap? So, who are these probably co-founders, mentors, or probably organization that you want to highlight? Or you can start with Victor.
So, ayun, I think na bigyan ko na rin ng introduction yung mga earliest supporters mo really would be family, friends, and fools. Particularly, yun, I mentioned my family na. Another one would be friends. So, co-founders. One of my co-founders was kakilala ko na nung high school pa. So, more than 10 years na kami magkakilala, and it really parang accelerated yung growth kasi kapag may relationship ka na, may prior relationship ka na with your co-founder, yan, wala nang masyadong friction, alam nyo na kung need magtrabaho, yun, need magtrabaho.
How about you, Lisa?
Sa akin naman, since kabaliktaran nga na, yung una talaga is yung medyo outside friends. Kasi huli na yung sa family, right? So, I'm thankful to those who first believe in us kahit di nila kami kilala. So, kaya important yung career capital to establish credibility para sa mga people na wala masyadong connection pa. So, they were, of course, yung unang investors namin, si HG Lab. And then, yung mga unang competition na sinalihan namin, including RISE, facilitated by a different management. And also, one of the first competitions actually, She Loves Tech. It's also facilitated by QBO back in 2023, 2022. I forgot na actually. So, because of them, I was able to be more open about the startup outside of school, networking, and see their bigger picture or real picture of how things work.
All right, thank you so much. So what I'm getting, I mean, you can attest to it that no founder survives alone, no? And this reinforces something crucial, no? That entrepreneurship is not a solo sport, no? That community accelerates growth, mentorship reduces mistakes, and collaboration multiplies impact, no? So if you're building something, don't isolate yourself, no? Try to reach out, try to open your doors to your family, friends, and to the fools, and probably open yourselves also to the people na probably katabi nyo ngayon, or the people within your community. I mean, these people and these organizations are here to help you. Like this logos flash on your screen, no? Like University of Makati, University of Makati, your TBI, Center of Technology, Incubator and Enterprise Development, and QBO, of course, no? And the whole staff and faculty members of UMak are here to support you guys when you are starting your venture. So you just need to open up, no? And reach out, because these organizations are actually knocking at your doors, no? You just need to welcome them, no? To welcome their support and their help that they're giving you, no? And then probably since we are nearing to the end of our fireside chat, no, I would like to ask, no, what are the things that you're currently working on, and what are the recent milestones that you can share with us? Alisa?
Nagtitigan pa tayo. So, actually, Dormy kami, nakilala as Dormy. But actually, we just rebranded to Suzy Rent. Kasi, akala nila pang dorms lang kami. Pero actually, meron din kami pang condos, apartments, even houses. Pero ang forte namin, condominium units, apartments, tsaka dorms, yung tatlong yun. So, bakit Suzy? Yung iba, akala nila, sino ba si Suzy? Bakit nga ba Suzy? Ano yung hula nyo? Ayun, matalino kayo. Nahulaan niyo kasi yung iba hindi nila nahulaan tulad nito. Tinanong pa niya kasi sino si Suzy. Pero anyway, so ayun, rebranding. We just launched our mobile app. Then we recently partnered with Boss Job to connect workers to these houses here in Makati and BGC. Boss Job, para siyang LinkedIn actually. Tapos sino pa? Si DMCI, tsaka sino yun? CPMGI, FINMA. We just partner with them to increase our supply inventory. So there, more of expanding our user base.
Awesome. How about you, Victor? Any milestones recently or anything that you want to share with us?
Yan, so most recent milestone would be, yun nga, naka-achieve kami 100,000 subscribers sa YouTube.
Follow.
Subscribe, BJ Villafuerte. Pero yung pinagkakaabalahan ko talaga would be the logistics and shipping ng recently designed calculator ko. So, and a few other future collaborations then with Canon. Siyempre, it's also coming up.
Awesome. So this just proves that ideas started in classroom can grow into successful ventures, And now, I'd love to hear from our audience, especially to our students. We will be opening the floor for some questions, I know na parang nangangati na kayo magtanong sa kay Alisa and kay Victor, So if you have any questions, Carla is there. You can just raise your hand so that you can be acknowledged. So we'll be opening the floor for a few minutes. Okay, we have a question from the gentleman in... Okay. Any questions? Look, Maria, this is the perfect time to ask any questions or probably advice to Alisa and to Victor.
Ka-generation niyo po itong mga ito.
Ayan.
Fresh from...
Probably if you have questions kung paano mag-build ng 100K followers, probably you can ask Victor kung paano sumakay sa angkas, you can ask Alisa, So, any questions? Especially dun sa may mga entries, I think this is a really great opportunity for you to ask some questions na parang hindi nyo matanong. Any question? A raise of hands?
Any question is valid.
Okay, perfect.
There you go.
If
Can
you
you introduce muna and then ask your question?
My name is Kansas Series from 1A BSM. And tanong ko lang po, ano yung pinakamalaking profit po ninyo?
Pinakamalaking profit, if you can disclose it. An estimate? I'm not sure if pwedeng i-disclose.
Reality check it out. Kung ano naman yung pwedeng i-disclose.
Or probably attraction, not a number na lang.
Okay, I would answer this question in terms of fraction na lang. So right now, we're currently at 60,000 users in terms of tenants and in landlords. So there.
How about you, Victor?
I think napakita ko na din yung traction ko sa slide ko from 3 to 10,000 students.
Yes, so probably i-compute nyo na lang if nakita nyo mga subscription nila sa website and all. But yeah, amazing traction, 60,000 users for Dormy and then 10,000 plus for Kipap. So, any other questions?
Ako may follow-up lang. Just so they know the realities of it. What are the sensitivities why a founder might not share it yet at this early? Any apprehensions why? Is it because super fluctuating? Is it because you are still testing and therefore it isn't counted yet as profit talaga? Why the apprehensions at an early stage to share? If you can explain your apprehension, please.
This is really a hard question. Parang pang-pageant siya. Pero I would share a story na lang of Grab. Si Grab kasi actually parang nandito na siya sa mundo 12 years ago pa. Pero recently lang sila na-declare na nagkaroon sila ng profits after the pandemic pa. Pero nakilala natin si Grab noong pandemic. For a person na wala sa startup, baka isipin mo na, ang daming traction ng Grab noong pandemic. Yan yung lagi natin ginagamit sa delivery, sa food. Pero, hindi pa pala sila profitable noon. Naging profitable lang sila after the pandemic. So, kaya siya minsan sensitive yung financial information because every startup has its own financial story. And it's also fluctuating.
Okay, got it.
Possibly you want to add on that?
Ayun, I think I've heard a similar story pero sa Shopee din. So Shopee, for its first few years, I think tama ba hanggang ngayon, it's still operating at a loss. So yun din yung unseen na or untold na stories sa mga startups. Kaya yung financial situation or financial talaga mahirap i-disclose.
You disclose straightforwardly. Okay.
Alright, probably better ask for the traction na lang than the actual numbers, I think. Yeah, okay. Question.
Question for both po. From your experience, what's a mistake first-time founders always make po? Or what's a mistake first-time founders consistently underestimate, and why does it happen po?
What's a mistake that a startup founder consistently...
First-time founder.
First-time founder.
I think for me, kung ano yung plano nilang i-build doesn't really align with their interests. Yun nga, I mentioned kanina yung product market fit versus product founder fit. Yan. Before you achieve product market fit, you have to make sure that what you are building is talagang part ng strength mo. Kasi if it's not, you won't be competitive in that market enough to really thrive.
Actually, I agree with him yung sa founder product or market fit. Kasi yung ibang investors, ito talaga yung unang tinitingnan. Why? Kasi yung product or idea or even yung market, pwedeng mag-iba yan based sa reception ng market. Pero ang character, pagiging masipag ng founder, mahirap yung baguhin in a short term. And aside from that, yung MVP. MVP meaning minimum viable product. Sa school, siguro yung character na built natin dapat perfectionist, dapat 100, dapat 90. Pero actually sa MVP, dapat mas mabilis the better para mas mabilis mo makuha yung reception at mas mabilis mo siyang ma-improve. So, okay lang na pangit yung MVP mo. So, there.
Yeah. Any other questions? I think we have 2 more questions, 3 more questions.
Good morning. I'm Norma M. Borges from the Institute of Nursing. So my question for the both of you po is, when did you have that specific aha moment that you got to realize that your project isn't just a startup project, it's a viable company na po?
Ayun, for me, it was nung student pa ako. Nung student pa ako, I made YouTube videos. And na-surprise lang talaga ako sa mga comments. Yun, one early validation na pwede niyong matingnan if you're building something is yung initial comments ng product niyo. So, yun nga, sa mga comments, marami ako naririnig na nung nag-e-exam sila, mas naalala nila yung mga tinuro ko. Kasi nga nauulit yung mga videos.
That's why feedback from your customers and clients is really important kasi it really molds your startup or your solution better. How about what you said? Any aha moment? What's your aha moment?
So for Dormy naman, we started as a classifieds platform. Nakapost lang siya. Wala pang pay, wala pang book, wala pang inquire. Pero na-realize namin nung nag-waitlist kami, nung una kasi yung users namin nasa 100, 200. Pero hindi nag-start na kami mag-marketing, pumala siya ng 2,000, 10,000. So, per 1,000 yung pag-increase namin na na-realize namin na may demand pala. Pero aside from that, may demand din kami sa landlords. Kasi na-realize namin, agent sila, licensed broker sila. Pero bakit sila sa amin nagtatanong kung paano ba ito i-price, kung saan ba yung market, kung saan ba dapat sila bumili ng condo, pang passive income, yung OFWs, sino maghanap ng caretaker nila. So as you can see, kahit college student pa rin kami, pero since may first hold kami of the market, that builds trust and demand with the market. So, need lang talaga ng tiyaga sa pag-aaral.
Alright. Probably we can take one more question. It's from the lady.
Hi po, I'm Laila Bagay po from 1AB Center. I just want to know po how did you overcome po the financial and personal challenges po in the early stages po?
Probably how you try to bootstrap since you're still a student.
Okay, so for Dormy, una bootstrap talaga siya from the founder's pockets. Tapos, wala pa kami sweldo. So, tipid-tipid muna dyan, kuripot. Pero, ang naging strategy namin is to join competitions. Lalo na yung mga equity-free grants because wala namang equity yun. Tapos, grant lang siya. Need mo lang magsipag, mag-comply with their requirements. So, join competitions to get that pool of initial capitals, and after you gain traction, credibility, and build a viable business model, maybe you're more confident to confront angel investors or venture capital. So there.
How about you, Victor?
So, noong period na nag-iikot-ikot kami ng schools, to support myself, I also do tutoring work. So, yun yung, in a way, initial na naging income ko, na tutoring work, and yun, hopefully, thankfully, na our business became profitable naman for me to eventually stop doing tutoring.
Alright. So what I'm getting from this is that it's really hard to bootstrap or to founder startups, especially if you're still a student, since wala pa masyadong ipon. But there are a lot of ways where you can get some capital or funds. As mentioned, pwedeng sariling sikap na mag-tutor, pwedeng through competitions, through grants, through sometimes through projects like Project Rise. So I believe there's a potential for the qualifying startups to get some funding for if makapasok sila dun sa next step, no? So since we are towards the end of our fireside chat, no, I would just like to ask if you could give a piece of advice or parting words for our students here attending na gusto mag-start or probably already started their startup, no? What are your advice to them? Lisa or Victor?
Ayan, sige. Would like to mention again yung isa sa mga slides ko na motivation versus discipline. So, yun nga, siguro after this seminar, or after this session, marami kayong natutunan, you feel really motivated, di ba, to start a company, to start a business. Pero, what really determines your success is yung passion, yung fire na napipil nyo ngayon. Can you keep it long term? Can you maintain consistency throughout your journey as a startup? Yun yung what determines if you will be successful or not.
How about you, Lisa?
So, after reading several self-help books, kasi nagkaroon ako ng quarter life crisis, na tutunan ko to, abilities are built, well, sometimes discovered, pero usually it's built, kasi yun yung lagi mong ginagawa. So, this is a concept that I usually, lagi ko tinatatak sa isip ko, para siyang earth, unahin mo yung core, yung sarili mo. Kaya nga sabi, founder market fit, sobrang importante nun. Kasi long-term investment talaga to. And then afterwards, improve the skills around it, personality, your network, and then after nun, I think makabuo ka ng isang company. So there.
All right, I think that ends our fireside chat about the life of a student founder. Again, to Alisa and Victor, thank you so much for your honesty and vulnerability. No? And to everyone here, your student life can be the launch pad of your entrepreneurial journey. No? So, not making it to the next one doesn't close the door, it builds character. No? So, as they mentioned, product founder fit, consistency, and try to build your skills while you're still in school. No? And keep striving. Keep innovating and keep believing, because who knows, you might be the one speaking here in front now on our next panel. So with that, thank you so much again, Alisa and Victor.
Okay, thank you also to Dieter. So we will have a short photo session with this panel with Dieter, Victor, and Alisa. Thank you. We are also sharing the certificate of appreciation on behalf of the partners from the University of Makati and QBO Innovation. We are grateful for your insights. Your stories are always exciting. Bongga ang followers and traction. So we appreciate all your insights. Sana po maulit in UMak. Become mentors. And please connect the students. Please connect to the founders. They are very open to questions and things that you can consult, especially with the businesses. So I will just share this to Alisa. A round of applause again to Alisa and to Victor. Okay. Oh, my request to Victor, because you saw the pictures on his deck sa kanyang speaking engagement, kailangan natin ng groovy with Victor. And Alyssa also. So, one at a time pa. Okay, so because today you have been a great audience to Victor, you counted out.
Ayan, so selfie, everyone.
Sige. Kita ba? Kita ba yan? Nasa frame ba? Sa frame? Yan, okay. Okay, one. Gusto mo alisa sa mama? Sige. 1, 2, 3.
Ano ba yan? Nagkakamagay pa.
Thank you very much. Again, that was Dieter, Alyssa, and Victor. That was... That was our founder. So, a big part of when we do roadshows and when we do campus tours is having founders to face the students. Kasi kahit anong sabihin namin dito, mas totoo pa rin yung sasabihin nila. Right? But as we continue, we have time check, around 40 minutes left before our lunch break. So itutuloy lang natin. And a lot of what Alyssa and Victor said, ma-affirm yung mga susunod kong sasabihin. Pero bago ko, ito lang ang ating lessons. Question lang. I have things to share from the QBO team. Small cap from QBO and small tumbler from QBO. Ang ask ko lang is anong favorite thing, isang favorite thing na nasabi ni Victor and isang favorite thing na nasabi ni Alyssa. So, sino pala kay Victor? Yun si Ma'am. Si Ma'am sa likod. Okay. Ay, pwede pa hatiran si Ma'am dun sa likod. Where ba? Ayan. Kanino favorite thing said kay Victor?
Yes po.
Yes po.
I'm Janine M. Gutierrez po, IABSBA-FM. Yung favorite thing ko po na sinabi ni Sir Victor is that yung pag-start po ng business is hindi lang po siya idea, launch, then profit. May trials po talaga na need mag-pivot.
Okay, thank you very much. Something that's stuck from Victor's talk and Tumblr. Alyssa side naman. Si Alyssa mamili. Ikaw nga mamili, Alyssa. 1. Marami pa akong tanong mamaya. May ilan pa akong cup tsaka Tumblr. Kayo. Oh, yes! I have tig 3 more.
I'm Ashley Sacramento po from 1ABSBA FM din po. And one thing po na natandaan ko po yung Ate Eliza po is that she told us na mag-start lang po ng varieties sa mga po like, na-realize po natin na hindi lang po students yung pwede natin maging customers or clients, pwede din po mga professionals kasi malawak po siya, lalawak po talaga. When you have an idea, lalawak po siya talaga at mapapakinabangan niya po siya.
Okay, thank you. Go beyond your borders as a student. Thank you very much. Meron pa akong ilan, tig-ilan. So I have a few more questions throughout the rest of my content. But a lot of what we will talk about dahil ang daming nakwento ng founders is what you do in an idea. Diba? Sabi natin nagsisimula siya sa tao. Sabi nila Victor, discipline. Sabi ni Alyssa, find what you really want to do, explore so that you know what you really like. And then you get into, okay, ano nga ba yung problema? And fit nga ba? Sabi nga ni Victor, diba? Founder and product fit. We think there are a few things that you need to think about when you're thinking about an idea. At least you start here, right? You think about problems, people, the technology, value, and konting revenue sa umpisa. Hindi pwedeng, technology lang, ako na ako. Or, okay, kilala ko na yung tao, pero wala akong technology for them. Kulang. So at this point, we think about a few things to start our idea and to keep the fire burning, kumbaga. that we usually advocate for, especially for younger innovators, is do something meaningful with the skills that you have. So we know that a builder, a comm-sci student, an engineering student can build something that works. You can build something from scratch that works. But our challenge is for you to build something that people actually need. Hindi porket may button na pinindot tapos may umilaw, okay na. Right? And this is my challenge to the 50 entries. Gaano ko kailangan ng mga tao yung ina-offer nyo? Dieter and I and Shore in the back were part of your panel of judges to the top 20. So part of that is, did you want to build something that people might really need? And we start with problems. Problema, maraming problema sa Pilipinas at sa mundo ngayon. Right? So we identify and understand the problem as deep as we can. Ang lagi namin sinasabi, fall in love with the problem, not the solution. Bakit? Kasi if you fall in love, if you obsess with one project, tapos yung project niya nagkagulo-gulo, then it's easy to give up. But if you fall in love and obsess over a problem that you want to understand, there are many solutions and many iterations and versions that you can try. So hindi kayo agad-agad mag-give up. But the problem is, especially for those who are starting with an idea, is sometimes you only think of problems in the big picture. Grabe ang traffic congestion sa Manila. Maraming kotse. Hindi gumagana yung traffic lights. But at the heart of it, you are solving problems for people. And so, sa loob ng traffic congestion, walang sasakyan, yung traffic light di gumagana, walang pedestrian, walang sidewalk crossings. There are people in there that we need to understand. So being a founder isn't just about money. Being a founder isn't just about technology. It is, in the heart of it, problem solving for other people. Para dun sa mga nakasabit sa jeep, para dun sa mga nahihiyang mag-abot ng bayad, para dun sa mga nakikipag-Armageddon kapag rush hour para humabol ng jeep, right? There are always people that will hold the technology, push that button, and something will happen in their life. Hopefully for the better, right? Ito yung na-validate ng mga founders kanina. When is a problem worth solving or worth attempting to solve? Nabanggit kanina, di ba? We have a few things na pag nilagay nyo sa project, in-offer nyo as something worthwhile for your time. One, if yung problema na gusto nyong harapin is based on the needs of real people, not assumed and imagined people, actual real people. And not just real people, marami sa kanila. Sabi nga kanina, di ba? Samsung, gaano karami yung sinusolve mo? Para lang ba sa dalawang tao? Bubuo ka ng something for a year and a half to solve it for 2 people? Is that worth it? Or are you solving it for 1 billion people with the same problem? That is a worthwhile problem to move forward. Number 2, it is painful enough. Yung problema, kaya ko ba mabuhay hanggang next week na hindi nasa-solve? Next month? 3 years? 5 years na hindi kita pansinin? Okay lang ako. May problema. Okay. If it is not painful enough, then it is easy for people na hindi kayo pansinin. Or hindi kayo pakialaman. Diba? Alyssa offered something that was already needed last week, last month. Naghahanap na ng dorm, hindi na makakita, nagtatrabaho na. Same kay Victor, bumagsak na ng ilang beses, di ba? The solution was needed last year, 3 years ago, a decade ago. It should be painful enough that people are willing to do something, an extra step, an extra open wallet, an extra pay with GCash. As an entrepreneur, mas okay yun, di ba, when we're looking for that. Timely, relevant, and practical problems. Again, connected to the first two. Because if you're not relevant now, if you're solving something for the next generation, hindi pa nararamdaman ng mga tao ngayon. Within your scope of expertise, influence, or interest, sabi ni Victor, it's the product founder fit. May mga team kaming nakikita na we want to solve something for farmers in the countryside. Bakit? Konektado ka ba sa farmers? May farm ba yung pamilya nyo? Wala po. Nakakausap ka na ba ng farmer? Hindi pa. Nag-aral ka na ba ng agri-subjects? Hindi rin. Bakit? Bakit ko ito-trust yung isang tao to solve a problem when it is not connected to at least their interest or hopefully they're building expertise around it? For it to flip. Kayo yung problem solver dapat, diba? And then, last but not least, there is also hugot. For a lot of founders, may hugot. Meron silang connect dun sa problema na ayaw nilang pakawalan hanggang hindi sila nakakabuti dun sa problem. Right? So, ang point ko lang here, and this is a bit sa bootcamp for the teams who will be joining us, mas detailed namin itong makikita, but we don't want just the big picture. Gusto namin, traffic sa Makati, ano yung na-experience ng mga tao sa traffic? Nasa sidewalk sila for 30 minutes sa initan, walang bubong. Or, nasabit na ako, isang siko na lang yung na-connect sa jeep. Yun yung pain point, right? Going deeper. And then going even deeper, gaano katotoo yung sinasabi mo? Is there data to prove na may mga tao na 45 minutes naghihintay ng walang masakyan? Ilan sa kanila, gaano kahaba ng araw nila ang nasasayang? May numbers ba? Hiningi namin ito dun sa mga nag-apply sa Project Rise, right? There should be data. And usually, may isang malaking problema, maraming pwedeng ma-experience, nakasabit, naghihintay sa daan, nakontrata ng malaki ng kolorum, etc., etc. There are many pain points in one big picture problem. Marami tayong pwedeng ibigay na problema. That we usually provide ebidensya lagi. So, for example, mabilis lang, education. Education and online learning was hard in transitioning in 2020 and 2021. Ano yung isa sa maraming problema ng online platform transition? Students are finding it difficult to participate in online because mahirap magka-stable internet. One of many problems, right? And example lang, hindi totoo ang numbers ko, but just to prove a point of evidence, 20 million plus public schools to rural students, only 20% of them have access to online education at home. Palalakasin natin ng palalakasin yung pruweba na, may problema talaga, we need to solve it, right? And then we move on to, sabi natin, sa bawat problema, may mga tao na magdadusa. So may mga naapektuhan. It's your usual. Who are the people affected? What are their pains? How are they dealing with it when there is no one else solving it for them? Why are they reacting in that certain way now? And how many are there that is affected like they are? Ito yung mga importanteng tanong na gusto namin naiintindihan nyo. Hindi lang, Internet of Things, kaya malagyan ng sensor para mapindot. Naiintindihan ba natin kung sino yung pipindot? In certain ways, and in the life that they live, building technology is also understanding people. So, this is very important. And again, hinanap namin to dun sa top 50 entries, 50 entries, kung gaano kalakas nyo nasagot, yung gaano nyo ka deeply naintindihan yung mga tao. So, for example, medyo maraming nakasulat, but in understanding and going into an idea, you have to answer everything. So, grade school students sa barangay, 6 to 12 years old, low-income family, studying in public schools. ano yung na-experience nila. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, pain points. How are they dealing with it now? Diba? Ito yung problema, ganito lang nila ginagawa ng paraan. Why? Kasi ito lang yung kaya. Ito lang yung resources nila. How many of them are there and is it worth that number? Yan. So, we can nadadaanan. We can share the examples naman if for later you want. Then we move on to, pagkatapos pa lang ng problem and people, tsaka pa lang tayo pupunta sa blockchain, sa IoT, sa apps, sa hardware, sa software, sa technology, right? We usually deal with both software, which is commands that are put into a device that controls something, a device. Hardware are the components that act around the commands that are put as software. So if you see, usually it's the apps, it's the web platforms in the software side. Hardware is your drones, your sensors, your lights, etc. Right? But, ang hingi lang namin, if you are trying to solve a problem, dapat logical kayong mag-solve ng problem. If you tell us, may one pain point, dapat may kaakibat na one technology feature na nag-solve. 1:1, right? Example, sa Grab, for most of us, nakapag-Grab or angkas in the same way. Si Grab is dealing with heavy traffic problems in the cities, inefficient or inaccessible transportation. Ano yung pain points in that? Hindi daw enough yung vehicles pag rush hour. Personal safety risk kasi hindi mo kilala yung nagdadrive sa'yo, usually when you commute. Or hindi mo alam kung magkano, lack of knowledge for rate per distance. Anong binibigay ni Grab? 1:1 and more. Nasasagot nila lahat ng pains, plus. We ask for this because there are a lot of innovators that give, but cannot pinpoint a pain that it is solving for. Hindi nila ma-explain. So, kailangan, pag nagbigay kayo sa amin ng, may alarm, bakit may alarm kayong nilagay? Why? Any feature in a technology, anything you do as a business that you provide will take money, time, effort. Huwag nyo na lang gawin kung wala namang sinusolve for people. And this is not just for startups, this is for anything, right? As an innovator and as a problem solver, be logical about it. Again, to the top 20, kung nandito yung mga teams, this is what we are looking for. Very direct, para saan? Bakit nyo ito binigay? And this is where I will again ask. Can I ask si Dieter? Are you here? May cup and tumblers pa ako dyan. Can I ask for one person? This is our pain points. Can you give me something that technology can do to answer one for each? One person to answer the three. We'll give you the tumbler. So, mahirap gumising sa umaga. Innovative, ha? Not something new that we haven't been experiencing kasi, tinutulugan ko lang yung alarm ko. Forgetful sa chores. Hindi nakakatupag yung inutos ni nanay, hindi pinindot ang rice cooker. So, shy to make friends. Introvert. What features, 1:1, can you give me for the three? Isa lang, isang tao lang, for the tumbler. Sure, ikaw na mamili. May mga nagtataas ng kamay. Oo, gano'n. Innovative o bago, yung maririnig ko. Let's go. Yes po. Introduce yourself, your course, and then let's go with the features.
Okay, good morning guys. I am Shanil B. Aming and I am from 1A Updev.
Updev. Very perfect. Okay.
So for difficulty waking up, naisip ko is maybe an alarm, pero if you didn't press it, it will automatically notify yung kasama mo sa bahay to wake you up.
Inalam yung ganyan si shirt. Okay. So yung notification, not just you, somebody else in the house. What happens?
It will notify them so they can help you to wake up.
May mga kilala po. Okay, one. Next problem statement. Go. Ideas lang naman. Anything new, innovative.
So, in forgetful of chores, maybe in rice cooker, it will be a remote controls in your phone.
Okay.
So, it will be easily remote.
Makinakabahan kasi pagdating ng parents, walang bigas pa yung kanin. Okay. Remote control appliances, especially for the rice cooker daw. Last.
So for the super shy to make friends,
I'm stubborn siya, but to offer somebody, if you know somebody, paano mo sila matutulungan with something that technology can do?
So I know someone, like...
Ay, nagturo siya. Okay.
So, he is so shy, then he's using an app for making friends like that.
Ano nangyayari doon? Yung pwede i-share. Okay. How do you make friends?
So, like Discord po. So, we know each other in Discord po. So,
Okay.
we interact like, sa Discord din. Yan, naging friends po kami.
Okay. Open platforms for friendship. Okay, thank you. Asan yung, thank you very much. May isa pa. Pero ito mas yung example kanina. If we put it into real life problems, there are grade school students in the mountainside that go up, alam niyo yung mga kwento ng mga parents, lolo-lola pa siguro na, tumatawid pa kami ng bundok para pumasok sa school. Walang connectivity, tumatawid ng bundok, ng madilim, as 6 to 10-year-olds in the provinces, and sila lang. Wala silang adults, walang parents. Kasi nagtatrabaho, nagsasaka, nasa bayan. Anybody who can do the same for this situation. Anything that technology can do for people's problems that are these. One more. Isang tumbler pa. Kasi tatlo yung tinatanong natin. Isang tumbler pa. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Ayan kinukuha lang po yung tumbler. Ito si ma'am. One for each. Innovative. Something new na parang hindi pa natin naririnig.
Alright, so I'm Samara Vargas from the Institute of Nursing.
Nursing.
So for no home connectivity for safe learning, I have this bizarre idea that what if there's a community with no connectivity and their devices have this something that the more that it has, the more that the connectivity will be reached. It will be shared. So what if that will be a community setting in which that could help those that need connectivity while also being able to establish the community collaboration?
Parang the more they gather, the more connectivity gets stronger for them as a community. Okay. For learning. Next, anything for hazards in the mountains, tumatawid sa ilog, sa baha?
So for safety hazards, the unpredictable, I would think more on disaster. So with that being said, I'll sort of connotate it with the first one. So the first one, it's more on the connectivity. On this one, there will be a sort of data, let's say a database that all of those that have this certain device or app will be notified within that certain area.
Okay. Proximity.
Yes.
For the community to be.
Yes,
Not just, okay. And then last, all kids travel the hazardous terrain. Anything here?
Alright, so daily travel unsupervised by adults. So we're on this area. I believe GPS or location would be more precise, but we have this thing that we often sort of off our location in our phone so that our parents would not know where we are. So,
off on GPS.
Yes, off po yung GPS. So with that, we could implement a device other than a phone, let's say a watch perhaps, that will also help to sort of supervise their kids in terms of how to see the location of their kids.
Okay.
For them to-
Hardware.
yes,
May
hardware.
something else. Okay.
Yes.
For locating the kids. All right. Thank you very much. So the three ideas, right? Anything sa bahay, anything that is outside of the bahay, if we think differently, and if we think what technology can do now, especially with AI and generating things, we can try to make better things for people's lives, right? So, tutuloy ko, we have time check, tama? 12 minutes. Tama ba? Problems, people, and technology, we've covered. Pag nabuo mo ba yung technology, tapos ka na doon? No. Sa amin, we also look at para saan ba siya as a finished product. And especially for Project Rise, there is also an anchor for impact through the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So countries have promised that together we will solve problems of humanity through the Sustainable Development Goals, right? And I will have a note for that later. But to simplify, usually when we ask what a value is, we want it to be unique. Kasi bago. So we ask for a unique value proposition. What are you proposing that is a unique value for someone? What makes you innovative and different? How do you affect people's lives for the better sana? Hindi yung gastos lang kayo as a subscription, tas mahal, tas nakaka-deter pa ng things in life, right? So we want to make technology that is good for the most part for people. So with this, we usually just first say, alamin niyo kung meron na kayong competitors in that idea. Students will always say, wala pa po. Tapos pag nag-Google ka, meron agad mga 3 or 4 similar. So do thorough research on competitors. Meron na bang gumagawa? Kasi kung meron na, tapos magaling siya, hirap kalabanin kung nauna na siya. So find your own ways to be better. Kasi pag ang kalaban mo ay grab na, paano mo siya i-overtake? But again, technology does not always only have other technology as competitors. Competitor pa rin ni Grab yung jeep tsaka yung taxi. Competitor pa rin ni Grab yung rent-a-car. Plus, syempre, yung InDrive, yung Green GSM. And they will need to look at paano ko sila lahat natatalo or how am I different and better in what I offer. Is one thing that we look at. For the entries, kung nandito yung mga team members, we actually, pag nagsiscore kami, we Google things that are similar to your projects. And if they offer the same things that you are saying, di ba, madaling mga research around the same things. And we look for, paano nila tinatweak for a unique approach. Number 2, kung kanina we were looking for logical bridge for pain point to tech, now we are looking for practical value to life. Pag nag-offer ka ng anything, whether it is tech or non-tech, we want to know, do you save time for me? Do I save time for myself pag nag-avail ako? Do I earn more? Do you make my life easier? Am I more productive? Am I happier? Practical. Kahit gaano pa ka-social yung code, kahit gaano pa kadami yung sensor, pag wala kayong masagot na practicalities, mahirap ibenta, bakit pagagamitin? Again, purpose for the tech, right? And lastly, because Project Rise is anchored around purpose and impact, for the entries, kung nandito yung members, sino po sa classes ang nagdi-discuss ng SDGs? Sino sama sa team? Sino sama? Sa amin hindi. Nung panahon namin hindi. Bago na to. But I have heard in the recent curriculum, sinasama sa thesis, anong SDG yung nako-cover. If you do not know, the United Nations gathered countries with an agreement to make the world a better place. with 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Example, no poverty, zero hunger, quality education. If for any of your thesis or your entries for Project Rise, ang bilis i-connect to anything that sounds like poverty, to anything that sounds like food, to anything that sounds like water. But if you do not know, the SDGs actually have indicators. Tinitingnan namin siya. So kung sinabi niyo no poverty, not anything about money and about urban poor is no poverty. Is it contributing to the list that the UN gave? Madali for a lot of teams, kahit hindi estudyante, na magsabing zero hunger po, sustainable environment po. Pero pag tinignan nyo sa listahan, wala silang may contributan. So just for, and especially for those gunning for the top 20, or for your research, if you do deal with the Sustainable Development Goals, hindi lang yung title yung tinitingnan natin. Meron siya talagang hinihingi for people to contribute impact. Like, for no poverty, you are contributing if you are providing access to basic services, health, water, food, clothing. If your solution is giving that, you are pasok to 1.4. Resilience to disaster. Paano pag bumagyo para sa poor? Saan sila pupunta? Pasok kayo. Some of the projects in the 50 claim an SDG but are not in the indicators. So, yan yung comment. But, all of the 17 have lists of indicators. Sa bootcamp na natin to sisain. But for everybody, just so you know, the SDGs is not just a one-liner, no poverty, zero hunger, good health. May hinihingi sila sa atin. So just so, for anyone who will say, I will give impact. But innovators always want purpose and impact, right? Last, but not least, this is not charity, this is not a hobby. So sometimes, we start it as exploration and then it becomes negosyante ka na. May ginagawa ka na. Gusto mo ng kumita. Sabi nga ng founders kanina, di ba? There was a aha point where, okay, pwede ko palang gawin to. Eventually, may pera. Eventually. So, revenue streams, we just ask. For people who are doing a product, paano kayo kikita pa balik? May mabibentahan ba? Meron or wala? Gusto nyo lang siyang blow in, tas okay na. How does the team intend to sustain the project through payment models? Usual payment model sa tech. Usually, kayo, nagdadaan na kayo dito. If you are watching ads on YouTube, hearing ads on Spotify, advertising as a revenue model, you as an audience is a revenue model. Premium, may libre, may bayad yung extra features. Subscription is paulit-ulit, every month may bayad. Transactional is whatever you need, yun lang yung babayaran mo, like in games. Commission is, parang pag nag-bridge ka ng transaction, you make it easier. You take a cut from the transaction value. Or licensing a version of something, right? Your usuals. So Spotify, Netflix is here, YouTube is there. But, sa startups, this becomes very creative. Ang tanong lang namin is, what are we looking for? Do you know the customer segment that will be the source of the payment, method or strategy for the payment, and pricing? In Tagalog, simplehan natin, sino ang sisingilin, paano sisingilin, at magkano kayo sisingil. Yun lang yung tanong namin in this as early as college level ideation. If you believe there is potential for someone na masingil, possibly a venture, right? So, case study, and we shared this during the U.S. Embassy workshop, but anyone uses Sakai.ph as commuter. Marunong lahat mag-commute sa Metro Manila. So, there. Konti lang. So if you do not know yet what Sakai.ph is, it is like Waze, but for commuter. So, if you do not know how to commute, kunyari, ako as taga Rizal, magko-commute to Pateros, I will put in my origin to my wherever I need to go. Tuturuan niya ako paano mag-commute. Sakay ka ng jeep with this route, sakay ka ng bus, 3 stop, sakay ka ng train, 2 stop, tapos maglakad ka. In the whole, like, step 1 up to the end, walk 5 meters, ganyan. Okay? CTIED has been there since pre-pandemic. It is free to use, and it's still free to use now. Buhay pa sila. Gumagana pa rin ang CTIED. The question is, paano sila nagsusustain? Paano sila nabubuhay? We actually talked to the founders of CTIED pre-pandemic, but there has been a lot of things that have happened. But I asked, and this is where maybe 2 cups I need, Jane. Dalawang cup. Okay. Si Sakay is free for commuters, but they are sustaining themselves. Sakay enables cities, transport operators, transit authorities for transforming urban landscape. Nasa website nila to. They offer things for urban planners and developers. What do you think the value of a commuting app gives to an urban planner? Someone who builds buildings, someone who builds roads. Anyone has ideas on value exchange? Bakit magbabayad ang isang urban planner kay Sakay? Yes, sir. Sa website nila to. This is for you. Ganyan. Yes. Any thoughts?
Natutulungan po nila na kung paano nila ma-design ang isang area much better for commuters or much better na routes.
Okay. How do you think they do that? What happens in the transactions that enable Sakay to do that for an urban planner?
Mostly yung mga data kung saan sila pupunta, kung saan sila sumasakay, kung saan din sila na bumababa. Yun lang.
Okay. Perfect. Exactly. So, Sakay goes to, let's say, the developers for a certain city, building side roads and sidewalks and buildings because meron silang routes of where people walk. At what time of the day? Gaano kadalas? Saang streets dumadaan? Pag bumaba ng tricycle dyan, pag bumaba ng jeep dito. So urban planners and developers will say, dito maglalagay ng bus stop, dito maglalagay ng waiting shed. And that is data that I don't need to research anymore because Sakay will give it to me. Right? Thank you. Exactly. Next, for brands. Isa pa. Any idea why Sakay.ph offers things to brands to create attractive offers and get the best out of your campaigns? Paano nangyayari yan for Sakay and a brand? Ayun, si Sir. Yes.
Ayun po, since Sakay offers yung kung saan mostly bumababa, sumasakay yung mga tao, itong mga brands na to could actually post their parang promotions po near those malapit po na sakayan para makita po nila yung product po. Where in turn, nagkakaroon ng promotion po na nakikita nila yung product po mismo.
Okay. Yes. Partly yes. Because, and again, to the same data, alam mo kung saan sila bumababa, alam mo kung anong oras, at lunchtime, alam mo na yung mga tao dito dumadaan. And the founder actually explained it. The plan was, it was not on the billboards, and it was not on the storefront. Gusto nila, sa app, makakapagawa ka ng discount campaigns as they walk by your store. So let's say, at 12:30, yung ruta ni Carla, dadaan siya sa'yo, maglalakad siya. At a certain, 5-minute window, maglalakad siya dyan. Hintayin mo siya, bigyan mo siya ng 5% discount para pumasok siya sa'yo. It was that targeted and it was that innovative na habang dumadaan ka, 20% discount sa'yo. Papasok. Ganyan siya. Intended at the beginning. And then the pandemic happened, they were also contracted for shuttling nurses and essential crew cross cities and things like that. Yung mga fleet na ambulances during the pandemic, pati yun, nagawa nila. So, revenue models for startups are also innovative because they have a playground now to single how they want, to single whoever they want, however they want and magkano, as long as the value makes sense. Pag meron ka na offer na something, and this is business sense, if you can offer something that helps someone and that has monetary value to them, maningil ka, right? Entrepreneur. Hindi tayo malulugi, hindi masasayang. Unless you are of good heart, di medyo konti. But then again, business is exchange of value, right? Again, at this point, ito yung tinitingnan natin. And even in just before the bootcamp, ito yung tatanungin namin to the entries that will come in, right? So, buhay pa si Sakai, as far as we know. Business model is the next part. So, if you've figured out you have people, yourself, your skills, you figured out some of your ideas, you put it all together in a strategy that makes something work. And we call that a business model. Simplifying it now, because we don't have much time, may separate session around just the business model, but we want to know na kapag sinabi niyo bubuo kayo ng technology, hindi lang kayo bubuo ng technology. Papaganahin niyo lahat around it. Customer, supply chain, kaninong supplier, sinong babayaran niyo, sinong sisingilin niyo, everything that goes in. So this is illustrated business model of Spotify. Hindi natin na-explain, medyo mahaba siya, but things work around the technology. And tatanungin namin, pag nagawa mo, okay, sinong gagamit? Sinong magpupuno? Sinong mag-update? Sinong kailangan mag-refresh mga kontrata? Lahat yun, pinifigure out ng founder. Hindi lang yung tech, hindi lang yung problema, everything all together is the problem of the founders. With an S, ideally. Resources. At this point, as a student, ito ang reklamo. And I think you will know in the afternoon, ito yung offer ng Project Rise. Resources at the very beginning. Where do you get money? Where do you get people? Where do you get deals, negotiations, etc.? Ang tanong lang ay, alam niyo ba kung saan? Hindi naman namin hinihingi na, asan na yung 5 million, no? We want to know if you know how to get your resources. And in the beginning, magtiwala kayo sa incubator. You have your own incubator in UMak, and that is very lucky. So you have CTIED and the TBI Express Hub. That is your own. So aalagaan nila kayo and your ideas. And as we have been talking to your TBI, they have very friendly arrangements to student innovators. So make use of that support. But going further, maraming tutulong, maraming pera for different purposes. But to preview my presentation mamaya around Project Rise and the Incubation Hub, incubation cohort. But this incubation cohort will give money, grants, as in hundreds of thousands of pesos for student teams to do their business. So kung may interest kayo and it starts with an idea, ang dadaanan nyo lang naman ay kami na nagsiscreen to justify what you are trying to do and does it make sense. If you need money, the incubators are doing programs where they share the resources already. Ang tanong na lang is, alam niyo ba kung paano gamitin? So, hundreds of thousands of pesos will be going to the student teams for Project Rise. Mamaya, pag announce tayo ng top 20, by top 10 review, all of the top 10 teams will be automatically getting money as a business grant, agad-agad, when you qualify for the 10. So, this is not the last cohort, this is just the first. Yun yung hamon namin. Know that you have resources in UMak. Make use of it. About pa yung TBI, super. So, one thing that you need to think about is where your resources will be coming from, sinong kailangan kilalanin, and of course, alamin kung paano gamitin eventually, right? And timing is the last. Timing is two things. Ang laban sa startup game is not who has the better, more complicated, more sophisticated tech idea. Ang laban sa startups ay who can execute better. Because there will always be one idea, a copycat of that copycat, and all of them are competing for the same market. Unahan and pagalingan mag-execute. And sabi nila Alisa kanina, di ba? It is the fastest and the most learned of the mistakes. So we always share. Hindi po sa subjects, sa experiments, sa startup lang siguro. But fail fast, fail often, but always fail forward. The startup life is a bit different from your academic life in that we encourage you to fail. To experiment as fast as you can and learn na mali yan, okay, next. Diba? Mali yan, huwag mo nang gastusan ng 10,000, next mo na. That is the next iteration, you learn. Kasi magsasayang tayo ng pera if nagpapatagal tayo sa mali. Parang relasyon. So, joke lang. So, fail fast, fail often, but always fail forward. Those are the considerations. And, time check, 12:09. Mga gutom na ako rin, naghihintay na ng lunch. But this is my last thing. How can you as a student get involved? For those who already have entries, wala na silang choice, involved na sila. But to the others, we start usually with your ACADS because there are so many exercises in the classrooms of this nature. Think of something to offer. Think of an app to develop. Think of your next business venture in the Entrep class. Diba? Start with your group projects and make that meaningful. Find a good problem and not just yung magpapasa sa inyo. If you have the will and the time, it might do the group good, right? In the world, some good. Number 2, and uulitin ko lang, work with your incubator. Literally, a technology business incubator is assuming that your idea is the egg and it will be hatched and launched in the incubator. So you have your CTIED and UMak TVI Express. Know who they are and know what they can offer you. Consult. Huwag kayong matakot. Share your ideas. If you can, go intern so that you can meet more founders like Alyssa and Victor. Volunteer for events like this. Kasi may mga susunod pa. Marami tayong volunteers ngayon so that you get to hear more about this, right? If pagka-graduate, work with startups. To the likes of Dormy and Keep Up. There are more in all of the industries. If you want recommendations for industries you're interested in, ask us. We can refer you to startups. Kasi iba ang startup life. And if you intern or work for a startup, you will feel your meaningful contribution and your skills to each day that you spend with a startup. And usually what they require, product dev, business dev, branding skills, digital marketing, data analysis. If you deal with HR, accounting and bookkeeping, as an intern, you can already provide some contributions in the fields, right? Last, I think, but not least, is join the community. In Makati, there is a lot. Almost every day, may events around Makati, BGC, yes, Ortigas. Mostly free. Online also, there are forums that happen for innovation and startups. Kuwadas, founder talks, networking sessions. Join lang join. Everyone is mostly friendly in the startup space, and they are very excited to discuss ideas with you, right? So, I think 1, 2, 3, and 4, these are things that you can already do and be active with. Meron pa ako natitira drain na, ano, saan si Jane? Meron pa. Because that is my last slide for the morning. Yan. For the morning. Yan. Kaya bago ko mag-instruct for lunch, may questions, clarifications, things that wag naman sanang offended you or like strongly pique your curiosity of what we are talking about. Pwede magtanong sa isa sa mga entry teams. Sino may entry? Anyone who would like to share? Meron ba compelling bagong thing kayong natutunan sa dinaanan natin? For the entries, this was meant to be review. So may separate session pa kayo with us. But, sino yung mga entry? Top, yung 50 members. Nag-registration tayo, marami ako narinig na entry teams. Si ma'am, kayo na, mga entry members. Sir, pwede. Ayan si sir. Yes, ka. Share lang. Is this what you expected? Is there something that was taliwas from what you expected? Si sir, with, ayan. Tayo ko nga, sir. Ayan, para maihatid po ang mic. Yes. Because you are waiting for judgment hour later for the top 20. But how was that review for you?
Okay, so good afternoon. Hello. I introduce myself. I'm Ernesto and I was the second from CGPP. Mainly, ang team namin is from the paralegal, major in paralegal studies. So, regarding sa entry namin, siguro, mamaya na lang pag mayroong segment. Pero, what mostly is natutunan ko and mostly na lagi ko rin I stand for and believe for is the power of failing. Because, kaya tulad po nung sinabi nyo kayo na which is na-enlighten ulit ako and talagang nabuksan din ang isip ko na sometimes, as for students din talaga, we tend failures as an identity of ourselves din eh. Kaya sometimes, if you do fail, hindi mo na ulit tinatry or to improve something on that specific aspect. Which is, I mainly believe that is wrong. Kasi as a student nga, you are here to learn and improve. So what is failure to you if you are going to identify it as your limitations to yourself? So instead of viewing your failure as self-identification of your limitation, be it as a stepping stone of you on how you can improve more and then delegate more to yourself on how you can improve as an individual and as you to help others as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yung failure as experiments. It's something that you learn from. Meron ba na hindi pa nag-entry pero interesado pala? Or na-interest because of today? Curious. May isa pa tayo, Jane, no? Meron pa? Tumblr. Okay. May isa ba somebody in the room who was here because they are exempted in the exam but now is curious about putting up an idea and maybe joining an application for the next cohort of RISE? Meron? Wala. Takot. Kinakabahan. Complicated. Okay. Why am I asking? Because, of course, we are looking forward to more ideas. Sana. And hope that this lessen your intimidation and not strengthen the intimidation of starting an idea. Minor interest. Kinabahan. Yes, sir. Jane? Yes. Hi, sir.
Good afternoon. Okay, I'm the College of Engineering professor.
Hi, sir.
Okay. So, based on my experience, nakita ko po lahat yung mga ideas ko na mayroon akong nabuo na pangangailangan ng ating community. So, hindi ko alam kung naipasa ang aming ang aming entry. Pero ganun pa man, naliwanagan ako ng gusto na isa pala ako sa kailangan ng ating community. Kasi ang aking idea, ma'am, ganito, mayroon na akong output talaga kasi mahilig din po ako sa research at
yes.
saka innovation, especially sa technology.
Mm.
Ang aking technology po kasi, ma'am, pangangailangan ng ating bansa. Ang problema ng bansa natin, isang problema ay sakit. Yung dengue.
Mm.
Kung
Yes,
walang
po.
kung walang lamok, walang dengue. Kung walang daga, walang leptospirosis.
Yes.
Isa sa number 1 yan na sa isipan ko na until now, ginagawa ko na. Ngunit hindi ko sa may mamarket ng tama because yung pinaka-set up na to, hindi ko alam. Ngayon, ang CTIED, ang nakikita ko na magiging paraan para makakatulong ako sa community natin. Yan po.
Sana po, sir, we will see progress in that project. A worthwhile thing to do, dengue and leptospirosis, right? So, we intended for the campus tour to be basic and fundamental for ideation and for innovation because we want you to be excited for more, but after the campus tour, we have afternoon program for kicking off formally Project Rise in the top 20 teams and actually recognizing them on stage.